Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to some more Malice Reacts. And we are getting back into things here with the Paranormal Files, so we're caught up for the week. I don't think there's anything new from Sam and Kobe. If I am wrong, I will double check and react to that as soon as possible. But for right now, I'm trying to record this as quickly as possible so we can then quickly ship it over to YouTube as quickly as possible and get you this reaction in less than a week. Because I don't want to fall behind. I've actually finally caught up with most of the gaming content, and I want to make sure that the paranormal stuff doesn't fall too far behind. And this one's a long one, 3 hours, 19 minutes, so about 3 hours and 20 minutes. The Paranormal Files, the most haunted prison in America, Missouri State Penitentiary. Scary paranormal activity. So, Missouri State, I think this is one of the more popular ones. So here we go, thumbs up right off the bat. And it's a long one, which means that you apparently caught a lot of stuff, Colin and crew. So let's go into it. Paranormal Files, go.
I've been investigating claims of paranormal activity for years, and I've seen a lot of scary things, but nothing compares
Should
to
also
what we saw
add,
that
if you
night
hear
at that
slipping or
haunted
crunching,
penitentiary.
I brought
It made me
snacks and
question
drink for this. This is basically a movie
Everything that
watch.
I thought I knew. Everything that I thought I had learned. And I think we made a mistake that night and opened up a dark doorway. The experiment definitely went wrong.
Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm a tour guide here at Missouri State Penitentiary, and first, thanks for coming and visiting us. We not
Hi,
only
Jenny.
used brutally violent physical torture, but also mental torture as well, and we were very good at both. Killings were
Oh, joy.
almost daily, if not weekly, so the violence and bloodshed in this building was just off the charts. Down here, things can get different, so be on your guard. 95% of us won't come down here by ourselves.
Tonight on the Paranormal Files, we're at the Missouri State Penitentiary. Could you walk over to that one and touch it maybe? Oh! Using these costumes, these outfits, might bring out some of the energy. Oh! What the f was that? What are you
More
doing?
than you want to know. Cheetos. Let's get going. Let's literally have it. Let's have at it. 3 hours long. Let's rock. Oh wow, a real storm?
Tonight on the Paranormal Files, we're at the bloodiest prison in the history of America,
all right.
the Missouri. Tour, we've experienced some of our strongest paranormal activity we've ever seen in a prison. I'm talking about loud doors slamming with our tour guide, confirmed by a police officer. You are honestly going to be shocked by what where tons of inmates died, and welcome to the Paranormal Files.
Let's go.
As we're getting closer to Halloween, who doesn't like a good ghost story? Just a quick drive north of our Ozarks Life, we have what many consider is the most haunted place in the state. And a visit to the Missouri State Penitentiary in Jefferson City is quite the experience. At the center of the state sits a petrifying penitentiary.
1836. You know, the same week that the Alamo fell, this place opened up.
When we first became a prison, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, California, all of that was Mexico.
From 1836 to 2004, the worst of the worst wasted their time at the Missouri State Penitentiary.
I've seen 3 different episodes of Gunsmoke, and they've talked about Jeff City getting out of the penitentiary, and they're talking about this place.
Over the years, more housing units were added to accommodate the career gangsters, rapists, and cold-blooded killers. Before it closed, it was the oldest operating penal facility west of the Mississippi River.
We had Sonny Liston in this building. We had James Earl Ray, Pretty boy Floyd over in the other building.
But not every inmate left. 40 were executed on site, one by lethal injection, and before that, 39 inside of this gas chamber, including a man from the Ozarks, Wright County's Ernest Afton Scott. In the spring of 1948, he shot his wife Verla in front of their oldest of 7 kids because she filed for divorce. He also killed the judge in Mountain Grove that was going to hold their hearing. A year later, the last thing he saw
Quite the aggressive
was
man.
the inside of this chamber.
20 cyanide tablets were set on the little shelf underneath. When they pulled the red lever, that dropped that into a stone crock that had acid in it, which actually created a visible cyanide mist. And they told him, now, when that gets up around your throat, because they can't see it coming up, we'll tap on the glass, bump, 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 let you know, and then you can either hold your breath or take a long, take a deep breath. It's like breathing battery acid in it, just burns, and you can't draw another breath, and you just slowly suffocate. So it's horrible, horrible way to kill anybody.
Outside of the execution chamber, hundreds of deaths have been reported at this prison.
A lot of murders were committed in here, some very bloody and violent murders.
In 1967, Time magazine called it the bloodiest 47 acres in America. Former corrections officer and Crocker native Tom Wells can attest to that.
I've seen inmates stabbed 25 times, blood squirting out of them everywhere, running to the hospital.
Dang.
And, I've seen guys, I've seen a guy out in the gym that had been murdered.
These buildings were like fortresses to keep Missouri's worst from escaping. Today, many believe some of these inmates still cannot leave. Voices, footsteps, and shadows are said to watch your every move. Before our investigation begins, as we're getting our interviews,
We do phasma box, static boxes. We get a,
Somebody's walking up there.
yeah, it could be.
and it appears like something was walking and watching us from a level above inside of Building 3.
Already watching.
No. It happens when it happens.
This man already knows.
All right, guys, we are currently driving up right now to the Missouri State Penitentiary. Ooh. I know y'all online love. Whoa. Hold up. I know you guys online love when we visit prisons. This prison, I have to tell you guys, has the most disturbing history of any prison we've ever filmed at. This is a place where we have access to the death chambers. We've never had that before in the history of our show. The gas chambers where 40 people died. So,
Roughly.
yeah, I've heard this place is really dark, it's violently haunted, and it is a very evil haunting. So,
Shut up.
This will be my first big prison video.
yeah, your first ever, man.
So I'm really excited about that.
Done several prisons. They're all unique.
And they're always dark.
This one seems to be extra dark.
Yeah, every time
the
we do a
history of it,
prison,
you know?
someone gets attacked, someone gets punched, someone
we
gets
are.
slapped.
Oh,
Holy
shit.
fuck. Well, this is just the beginning, man. This is nicknamed the bloodiest 47 acres for the amount of insane bloodshed that occurred here. Average Tuesday night, am I
At
right?
least this is why we're going to prison.
Yeah.
This
We
is
could be going to prison for a lot of other reasons.
A lot of other people
Yeah.
go to prison. It's
Right.
not as fun.
I'm
You don't
glad
leave
this
the
is
next
the
day.
only reason I'm going to prison.
Oh my
Yeah.
dude, being here is giving me the
Wow,
chills,
look at
man.
that.
Look
Look
at
at
how
that
fucking big this is. Dude, look at how fucking
Oh,
big it
it's
is.
gigantic, man.
Oh my god, bro. We can each have our own
See.
building tonight. All right, boys. I think we got our work cut out for us.
Wow.
So
Oh my God.
I think it's time we go to
Oh.
prison.
let's go to prison.
Let's go to prison.
Good luck, boys. You're going to need it
Make
in
sure to
there.
like the video and leave us a comment, by the way.
Yeah.
Long
If you
day.
support us going to
Gloomy
prison.
long night for me just to get through
If you
this.
want us to go to prison, like, share, comment.
Okay.
Also,
Alright,
let us know in
liked
the
it.
comments. Who do you think would last the longest in prison?
And if anybody watching my video is interested in watching it too, check
I'm
out
just
the link
taking
down
myself
below.
out of that. I'm dead. So I've always wanted to visit the Missouri State Penitentiary. Now, back when I just started my channel, before I had the money to even rent a hotel room to investigate, I visited the penitentiary and took a look around and was like, man, I could not believe how big it was, how creepy it seemed, and it was one of my wishes to visit this location. So I finally got to pay to visit and rent it out for the night. I cannot thank you all enough online for making that possible, an old dream of mine come true. I mean, this place is truly wild. We've done so many prisons in the last year and a half or so, And this place seemed to be the worst of the worst. I mean, so many murders, so many deaths, so much brutality, serial killers, rapists, everything bad about society. It was all right there in the prison. And this is a first here on the channel. This location actually contained the death chambers for the state of Missouri. So 40 people were executed there. I've never gotten to investigate a place like that. And yeah, all I can say is I wasn't let down.
So this is my first location that I've ever done that is just a prison. From the day that it was built to the day that it shut down, it's only been a penitentiary. This place is absolutely insane. I had never experienced anything like this. We were about to find out why this place is so haunted. I was excited.
So at this point it was time to do the tour of the Missouri State Penitentiary grounds. And I'm going to warn you all before this tour, it is very graphic. There are some dark, disturbing details we're going to go over with our guide. And if you have a weak stomach, I would definitely recommend
sensitive
maybe
to dark
skipping
material,
ahead through some
look
of
away
those
now.
parts, because this
And maybe check
history
out this
is
video.
brutal. And we want to tell you everything that happened there so you can understand fully why this place might be so damn haunted.
Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm a tour guide here at Missouri State Penitentiary. And first, thanks for coming and visiting us. I'm going to give you a little background before we get started. I have lived here all of my life. I never worked at the facility, but I'm kind of ashamed to admit I really didn't know much about the prison, even having it right here, literally in our back or front yard, so to speak, until I became a tour guide. And then I kind of became obsessed, as we all do. We opened our doors here and took our first inmate in March of 1836. That was 45 years before the light bulb was invented. Andrew Jackson was president at the time, and the Battle of the Alamo fell 2 days after we took our first inmate here for stealing a watch. We operated here continuously for 168 years. We closed our doors September the 15th of 2004, bust out 1,355 maximum security inmates to a new facility that we built for them about 6 miles east of town, and most of them still reside there to this day. Because this was maximum security from start to finish, it was documented the most violent penitentiary in the entire United States and the largest. We average somewhere between around 2,000 to 3,500 inmates, meant to house about 11 to 1,200, always grossly overpopulated. Our peak capacity was over 5,000 inmates at times, which is triple what we were supposed to house. So you're housing the most heinous, violent repeat offenders you can imagine in your worst nightmares right here. If I don't know any place that's haunted, it has to be this one. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to move on upstairs to the first housing unit.
Okay. What an ominous way to introduce the tour. The worst of the worst.
So it is. All right, let's go on down here.
Hey, at least they got fans running. At least there's power and you can get the air moving.
Well, this is housing unit number 1, H Hall. It was built between 1901 and 1904, specifically to house females, starting in 1905, moving them out in 1926. It was actually the last housing unit for the women. We had several others because our first female came in 1842. We were not prepared for women whatsoever, but there was no discrimination here. For almost the first 100 years, no officials had ever come in, no rules were being followed. It was being run by outside businessmen and guards inside the facility. So when women came in, we just figured out what to do with them. Built some housing units, more females came in, which required a larger housing unit.
Right.
This is the last one we had them in. This is my favorite housing unit. We all have our favorites. I don't think it gets enough attention, historically or paranormally. It doesn't house death row. It's not the oldest housing unit. It's just a box with cells. But if you give it enough time, this one will turn itself on. I mean, it just will. We punished women as severely as we punished men. And if you look over here, there's a punishment cell. We called it a blind cell. Because if you did enough time in there, you would come out blind. They did their time completely in the dark. Isolation was the punishment. We not only used brutally violent physical torture, but also mental torture as well. And we were very good at both. We doled it out on a daily basis for a multitude of things or absolutely nothing at all. Guards' discretion.
Piss
Who
us
got
off, you
punished,
just go into
what
the
they were
room.
punished for, how much punishment they received, and what type. It literally could be for just looking at a guard in the face and him deciding to take his bad mood out on you that day. Let's go on down here. I talked about that overpopulation. Literally, it was within 2 years of us taking our first inmate up until the very last second. When the women were moved out of this building, it became what they called R&D, receiving a diagnostic. And for about, well, until they built the Fulton facility, which is about 70 years later, this was male housing unit. Women were 1 man per cell. If you look at these cells, when this was R&D, they were sometimes holding up to 6 adult men in every one of these cells. Yes, yes. The grossly overpopulated term is not an exaggeration at all. So, you know, you were just stacking them and packing them in here. So, of course, it was going to be the most violent prison.
Like this.
Oh, can you imagine? I say that right now. You've got angst and anger, and they're sad and they're depressed, and you just stuff them in here, and it's 130 degrees.
Frick.
Like 2-3 weeks ago, we really had an awful spell of like 110, 115. Some of us stopped coming up here. I didn't. I kept bringing grapes up because, you know, you're going to get what you pay for. I'm going to bring you up here and make you suffer. I'm going to make you experience what it was like, and I cannot imagine how they even spent a single day or night in this facility. I just don't. I wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, you don't have much choice once you're here. What are you gonna do?
But man, does she have
I just can't even wrap my mind around it at all. Come right here, watch your head in this facility. It was not meant for tall people. Yeah. So to get upstairs, and there are 3 walks, 4 total in this housing unit. The stairs are here. So they go up every level. It kind of makes a circle. So you just are walking around, you look at the cells, you come back here, you come back down. So, you know, I think if there was a fire, and the poor soul that's, you know, male or female, all the way on the end, very top, they'd have to come all the way down here first to get down the stairs, and then have to go all the way back down there to get to the stairs to go down. We didn't care. You know, feds came in and said, you need more stairs. We're like, why? Well, what if there's a fire? We're like, and? Yeah. Well, the guys can't get out. What is your point exactly? You know, put some more stairs in. That's our point. And we really didn't like being told, you know, what to do by authorities and feds when they first started coming in. I'm pretty sure that we fought them tooth and nail. Every time they made a suggestion that we thought they needed us to follow, and we didn't think the guys here deserved. In this housing unit, some things you might experience, just so you know, you might have some ideas. We do have a gray lady. She was seen by inmates when the inmates were actually here, and then some of us have seen her, guests have seen her throughout the years. She hasn't been seen frequently, but she's usually caught on one of the upper walks, and we call her the gray lady because you just see the tail end of her dress, you know, sweep around the corner or something of that nature. She's been described as period clothing with a bustle, which actually does not kind of go with the time period of when the women were in here, but maybe she was the wife of a guard, or, you know, the warden's wife,
or something, yeah.
A matron or something along that lines. We don't know. But bustle, hair in the bun, white collared, stiff shirt, you know, the whole thing, and then the gray skirt, which would have been what a matron wore in here. So maybe the bustle they saw was a shadow, and that wasn't even a bustle at all. So, all right.
Never know.
We went all the way around. As I said, each level does that same thing. You got to think outside the box. You know, in here people are like, let's go into a cell. And cells aren't necessarily where you always want to look.
Gotta agree.
You know, I mean, they weren't in their cells at all during the day in here. They all worked. They all had jobs. If you were in your cell, that was, I don't know why you would have been, because if you didn't work, you got punished. So
it's kind of sad too if you're a ghost to just stay in your cell. You got this whole property.
Exactly, and just get a lot of things happen. In this lobby, for example, strange things happen in this lobby. Come on out here a little bit. So we were just up here, which was housing unit number 1, H Hall. And I know you can't see it, but way over there in the dark is a housing unit that was built in the 1930s. We have never had access to it on tours. It's really nothing aesthetically architectural about it. It's just like caged cells, and they fell apart pretty quickly when they moved the inmates out. They were state contracted. I'm sure the lowest bidder got the job, threw them up, and they quickly fell apart after they stopped using them.
Right.
We'll be going in that building in a moment. Let's venture on down the path here.
Not enough people around to take care of it.
Absolutely
That's probably
enormous.
half the
98,
drops of,
probably
inmates is to
95,
take care of these
98% of
places.
it, unfortunately, is gone because a lot of it just was torn down when they first moved the inmates out. They did not ever expect, us to be able to have folks like you coming in or guests coming in to tour the place. And we started and we just exploded. So dining hall is gone, a lot of the housing units are gone, things of that nature. What happened? What happened? Dining hall is gone. Yes, no chow tonight, Connor. Connor doesn't get any chow.
Definitely getting lost then.
Up, child, man.
So this
Ain't gonna go
hallway
hungry
is an
tonight.
example, and it goes the
Gonna be a
same way the other
long
direction.
night. No.
Connects you from that lobby area. So like when we
Absolute
walked out,
dreadful.
it goes both directions. Goes to housing unit number 2, red brick, or on the other side over there to housing, 2 and 5, I'm turned around. And so it literally was like just an alleyway where the inmates, moved throughout the day from one place to another, a lot of that in here. And I mean, this section right here were constant shankings because you could have multiple, couple hundred guys moving through that hallway at once. Everybody's got a contraband weapon, and
Right.
you walk through and you just shank as you go. Guy falls
shank.
down, you keep walking, and
Yep.
they have a really hard time ever figuring out, who got the guy. So killings were almost daily, if not most certainly weekly, in here between inmates, and then of course the punishment from the guards with the inmates. Just so much violence, always.
Joy, joy,
Inmate
joy.
on inmate, guard on inmate, inmate on guard. It was just a crapshoot. Oh,
But
there's
never
the
a new
light.
cycle.
Yeah, I know. So I keep seeing it getting
All right,
closer.
so as the sign says right there, this is housing unit number 4. Watch your step when you come in. Evening, boys. How are you?
Oh my god.
It's me. Now, we can leave it like this, or we do have runner lights underneath.
Oh, this is fine.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Can't hunt with the lights on. Come on in. This is everybody's favorite housing unit. You can sit if you want, stand, do what you want. And you can see why. It was built in 1868. It is the oldest housing unit that we have on site left. So the female department we just came out of was early 1900s, 01, 04. This one was 1868, so almost 5 decades earlier. And you can immediately see the difference. The cells are on the outside of the housing unit, and the inside is completely open. And the reason for that was, there was no such thing as rebar, and cement and concrete was something that had not been used and hadn't been invented yet. And so these guys in here had to go back to Greek and Roman times, and when you step into the cells, they all have the arched ceiling, which is the way Greeks and Romans had to do it to build the Colosseum and things like that, to hold the weight of all of the levels that are above. So this is also a 4-level housing unit. There's this main flag walk, and that's what they called the main level, and then 3 walks above. This housing unit just has some major history, It was really 3 different things throughout the years. For the first probably 70 to 80 years, there was absolutely no electricity in here, so it was candles for light, no heat at all, buckets for waste. So again, there were at times 6 men in every one of these cells, and you multiply that by, there's about 145, 46 usable cells. You get 750 guys, and they're using a bucket. What does it smell like in here this time of year? I can't even fathom who got the job of emptying the bucket every day, because it would have been an inmate, and I'm sure the con boss, because there was one of those in every housing unit. That was a real thing. He was the one that decided, I'm sure, who got those types of duties. And you were probably either the scraggliest one in here or new guy probably got that, which either way, it was not good. It was the most violent In the early days, we had a whipping post in here that we used, which I'll show you that area here in just a couple of minutes. So the violence and bloodshed in this building was just off the charts in the early days. Then it switched gears, and for about 70 to 80 years again, it was segregated, all black. And my favorite inmate story came out during that time period. It was a gentleman who walked in here, didn't know how old he was because he didn't know, never knew his own birthday. There is a metal cutout over there. I don't know if we can shine our light over there to make him, let's see. There he is right there. That gentleman's name is Sonny Liston. And Sonny came in as one of those very young, angry men that I was speaking of earlier. He had Mr. Sonny Liston, yes sir, and it's an awesome story. He came in as a very angry young man. He had had a crappy childhood, just a crappy childhood. There were 25 total children in his family, second relationships for his mother and a gentleman, and 2 families were merged together, 25 children in the deep south. People were starving to death down there. His new father beat his mother. He was an alcoholic. She finally just got fed up and said, I can't take it anymore, I'm leaving. So she leaves and heads up north, heading towards St. Louis, where apparently she had some relatives. She allowed the older children to decide whether they wanted to come with her or stay. It was probably the biggest mistake Sonny ever made in his short but sad life, or sad but short life, because he did decide to stay, and of course his stepfather didn't care anything about him. He was quickly running the streets. He robbed a grocery store. He got 2 charges with robbery with a deadly weapon, got 5 years, came in. He was a very large young man. He had a 15-inch fist circumference, which there is a paper cuff in cell number 33 that measures 15 inches, and it is just huge. It's unimaginable. 84-inch reach span. They had just started a boxing program here. A friar named Alois Stevens from St. Louis came in and started this boxing program. They threw up a makeshift ring down in the lower yard and had the guys come in. And he took notice of Sonny pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Came up to him, said, "You want to give it a try?" Sonny
man's
said
a
yes.
giant.
Long story short, he was very good. They actually went to Missouri State Probation and Parole and requested a full pardon for Sonny. And they gave it to him, which was almost unheard of in here. It was on the premise that they would take him out, promote him in professional boxing, be responsible for him, teach him how to read and write because he was illiterate. That did not happen. He was illiterate until the day he died, but he learned to sign his name while he was in here. And he went on to be a Missouri State Golden Gloves champion and then heavyweight champion of the world. It was a very short-lived championship. He was beaten by a 7-1 underdog who stepped in the ring, and his name was Cassius Clay. And most folks know him as Muhammad Ali. That was before he had went Muslim and changed his name. He was literally an unknown individual. Sports historians, some of them actually think that that fight was rigged. There's a video of it on YouTube, and they say you can watch it, and he just doesn't even hit Sonny. They say there's no way that that young man, Cassius Clay, would have ever knocked out Sonny because he was just a brutal fighter, brutal. Sonny had a gambling problem. He had kind of got wrapped up with the wrong people, owed some money, and they think maybe he, took a dive in order to pay off that debt. Who knows? He died pretty young, too, in mysterious circumstances as well. So hard to say, hard to say. And then it switched gears again, and this was the honor dorm. So you got some perks, but you had to be, violation-free to get on a very long waiting list to be in here. All the guys wanted to be in here because of those perks, such as finishing your work for the day. You could actually come back and read a book or take a nap. The cells by then had no locking mechanism. They had worn out from the constant opening and shutting of almost over 100 years by then. So you had to go to the commissary and purchase a lock with your own money. And you definitely wanted to purchase a lock. I don't care if this is a trustee status dorm. These are you're talking convicted killers and things in here. They are going to steal your stuff if they have the opportunity. But they could have almost anything in here if they could afford to buy it. And able to get it in the commissary. So a lot of TVs were in here, radios. There were gentlemen in here that had shag carpeting on their floors. There was a gentleman who had a very large, we've heard, a 90-gallon fish aquarium with tropical fish. Oh yes, and this is real. We have photos. In fact, that gentleman supposedly was one of the masterminds of our 1954 riot, which we can talk a little bit about when we get to that location. His name was Jackie Noble. So this housing unit, again, just so many things over the 100
Right.
and some odd years that this building was used. And it actually was the last building
Just a
that
lot of wild
they
stuff
took
in
the
that
guys out
many
of.
years, you know?
You know,
Just-
it was not
you
only
see all
sentimental
sorts.
to us, guests, employees, but mostly to the inmates that were living here. And most of the guys that were in here were actually living. You know, they knew they were never going to see the light of day. This was home, and so it meant a whole lot to them. So let's go on downstairs here, because we're not done. Let's venture down here, shall we? Let's go.
Venture down. Ooh, what's
I
down?
say yes.
I am like dying from how humid it is.
Can you imagine this?
No.
I mean,
Dripping sweat.
and this is not bad. I'm not kidding. Like 3 weeks ago, it was pretty bad in here. It was pretty bad. So this area is what the inmates called the hole originally. So there were no showers down here. Those stairs were not there. This concrete cement block wall was not here. It was just a hole in the floor. And this was punishment for this housing unit. That's what the inmates called it, was the hole. Because it was just a dark hole in the ground. If you look down in the pit, that's exactly what it looked like, the hole. So they would actually lower these guys down in baskets with ropes and pulleys. And there would be a guard down here already waiting, and you were going to receive punishment down here. And again, I cannot stress that it could have literally been for anything. Just anything at all.
I think that
We had
set out
whipping
the guard
posts
that day.
right here. This was a dirt
To
floor.
actually
and the
having
whipping
done
post was
something.
sitting right here. They would strap a man to the whipping post, and they actually whipped in here with a cat of nine tails, which is a short-handled whip with about 8 to 10 to 12 short leather straps. And so at the end of those leather straps, we attached shards of metal and glass, and it did fillet a man's flesh to the bone. I mean, it was a very efficient form of punishment. And guards were allowed to whip a man 99 times. They got to choose. So you say you stumbled out of line going to the dining hall one morning, and you got jerked out just for that. The guard decides you're going down here. He could have had you get 99 lashes just for that reason alone. I don't think 99 happened very often, because I'm pretty sure that you would have died, from that. And we needed you here because we did have over 60 factories that we were running in here. Boots and shoes and brooms and soap and binder twine and a license plates for the state of Missouri. And it was all done using prison inmate labor. And so we needed them, but we were going to punish you. So there was a fine line, I'm pretty sure, but you could have gotten 40 lashes strictly for something like that. And you think, okay, I'm done. I have made it through this punishment, and you're hanging there on that post, and they cut you down, and you just slump to the floor, and you're not done. Not in here. Because then you're going in here. And this is a dungeon.
Oh.
And it's called a dungeon because that's exactly what it is. So there are 8 cells down here, 2 going this way, and it actually makes a U, so all the way around the back side of this cinder block wall, and stops right there. So it just goes around. Let's just step inside here for a second. You got night vision, or are you gonna? Oh, you're fine. You got light on there.
I got light vision.
I'm kind of blinded. All right, now all I'm seeing is a square of light, but it's okay. Make sure I don't run into a wall, would you?
I got you.
Come on in here. Because are you able to turn that light off easily?
Yeah.
Because I want to have you do it, all of you. Kill them all.
Oh my god.
Welcome.
Can you imagine this?
No.
Now. Yeah, there you are. Hello. So, you are thrown in here bleeding to death. Your flesh is hanging off the bone. They toss you into one of these cells, and there would have been a solid iron door, and then on the outside of that was a solid wooden door. It was all about keeping the light out down here, literally. They buried you alive, and men spent days and weeks and months and years at a time in these cells being punished. We know a couple of them by name, so it is documented. So you're thrown in here, and they shut the door, and it is pitch black. I mean, I'm a Missouri girl. It's cave dark. We're the cave state. So you hold your hand up in front of your face, you're never going to see it. Doesn't matter how long you're looking. So they went completely blind. They went crazy. Both. They killed each other. They committed suicide by just banging their heads against the walls over and over and over until they just fell to the ground and bled out.
That happened?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Oh, all the time. All the time, dude. Starvation, because it was one piece of bread slid through a bread slot on the bottom. They'd whip that wooden door open, slide that breadboard, jerk it back out, and slam that door shut. So it literally was a 5-second, barely any light that might have been resonating from, outside, or if the guard brought in a candle or whatever he might have had. None, zero. And disease was rampant. You're talking cholera and typhoid and syphilis. It was all through the facility, but down here, I can only imagine, because they would stuff over a dozen men in every one of these cells down here at a time. So you've got diseased men in there that are shoulder to shoulder with others, and it's just spreading like wildfire.
Open wounds.
Oh, you got open wounds, that's for darn sure, and they didn't wrap them. Unless you may have gotten lucky and grabbed a wool blanket somehow that you drug in here, that, how. But you wrap that around you, and that's it. Well, you're going to peel that off later, and that's not going to be fun. But no toilets, no plumbing ever down here. So you got a dozen men in these cells, one bucket. You're swimming in it. I mean, it was unbelievable. It truly was unbelievable what they experienced down here. If they died, and a lot of them did down here. I'm pretty sure this is one of the highest death locations that was in this facility, is this area. And we had other dungeon areas in buildings that are gone now, that were raised over the years, and something else got built on top, because that's just how we did it here. Use it till it can't be used anymore and build something on top. Just hundreds and thousands of guys that died down here, but they never removed the dead bodies. So you've got men that are just in these cells with 2 or 3 dead bodies along with them, decomposing the entire time. Oh, yeah.
Why wouldn't they remove the bodies?
Well, why would they? You don't deserve that. Not in here. And, we try to tell our tour guests, at least I do, we can understand it because it was a different time, period. And that's really the only way you can even comprehend, by just being able to say it was different then, people thought different, it was terrible, yes, but we don't think that way, thank goodness. But it does wrap all the way around here. You can take a look down this hallway. You will find random chairs everywhere in the facility, because you just never know where somebody's going to sit for a while and have a session or whatever. So there are a couple cells down here also. Any of them down here that are open, again, you are allowed to come back in here and see what you find. This particular cell right here, orbs, lately we've been seeing a lot more light anomaly than usual, a couple of us, and you all know as well as I do. Orbs, people, orbs, no, that's dust. Or that's a bug. Sorry to burst your bubble there. And they're hard in here to catch, but I have a photo, and it was our cashier one night. I was doing a tour, and there was a break between tours, and sometimes they'll just walk the tour with us, and she decided to come. And she was in here with guests, and she came up to me after, and she said, "Jenny, I want you to see this picture." And she had an iPhone, and it was live, which she didn't even know what that meant, because I'm like, do you realize this is a live photo? 2 of the absolute biggest, most perfect orbs I have ever seen floated in. You can see them come from the outside, from the wall, so they just materialize. And then one of them actually sits over a guest's head, and the other one kind of just swoops off camera. Just one of the coolest things I've ever seen. So down here, things can get different.
That's very unusual.
Okay, so
that's not normal dust or bugs.
Be on your guard.
They moved in and they kind of lingered for a bit.
Because it is such a violent location, things tend to feel a little different down here. Most of what we get in here, in my opinion, is light, random, that kind of thing. But there are a couple locations where it's a little more ominous and a little more heavy, and this, of course, is one of them. And that's strictly because of what happened here. Again, you have men that are dying in here on a regular basis, as they were down here.
Literally and figuratively.
You know that some of them have decided to stay. And we don't know why. Did they love it that much? Why are they stuck here? We ask them. We don't really get told that answer much, but maybe they don't know why they're still here. But, all right.
Wow.
Forever repeating the same torture they
I
had
don't know
in
where
their
those
life.
cell doors came from, upstairs somewhere. Imagine that. And a lot of things you do see and did not actually come from like this. This was not down here. It got brought down here. But everywhere you're going, and not just down here, but everywhere tonight, you really need to watch where you're walking, when you're walking, because there are just little edges and steps and things like that everywhere. But there's an inmate footlocker that got drugged down here. They all got issued a footlocker when they came in. So that's real. But yeah. And in here on the wall, on this side, there's remnants of a couple shackles where they were shackled to the wall. And then here is a very good look of what the doors. I said, so you had the solid iron one, and then there's that little slot that the bread board would go, and then this frame would have been a solid wooden door. So,
Wow.
Yeah, pretty bad down here. One of the best things you can do in this building is just sit in those metal chairs and watch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We see more movement up above on the walks in this building than any other. We have police officers that normally come in here with us at night. About 5 years ago, they started coming in for safety. You know, we're in here alone a lot. One of the female officers came in, and she had been in here several times working, but she'd never taken a photo. You know, who knows why, just never did. And she stood about right here, and she took a picture just right up there on that second walk, right about there. And she caught one of the best full-body shadow figures that any of us have ever seen caught in here. And we, you know, guests in here catch pictures. I mean, it's fairly often, you know, that people do catch just photos on their cell phone even. So you just never know. You just never know. This is an original cell door. So every cell in this housing unit looked just like this. And again, I mean, it's solid iron. It's very heavy. This has no locking mechanism on it, by the way. That's why I can close it. It won't close. So every door looked just like this. One of you go in there. One of you go. Connor. Oh, no. Original window in there, too. Look, see, just a couple slits. They didn't open or shut, so no air circulation or anything. Not like what they are now. Okay. Now you can come out when you're ready. I'm not gonna ruin that shot.
Damn, we don't have lock.
Yeah.
So you saw what he did going in and out?
Yeah.
So subservience was actually built into these housing units back in the early days. So one of the 4 rules that we had on paper in the very early days was you never raise your head without tipping your hat and asking permission before you speak to a guard, or they would beat you strictly for that. So these were cut short to keep you in a subservient position every time you stepped foot out of the cell. So you were to know your place in here immediately. So when the feds came in here for the first time in the 30s, you know, they said, oh no, you got to cut these doors. And so they cut them all, you know, and raised them all. And now you can see the difference if you look side by side, see?
Wow.
They left this one for whatever reason. We have no clue why. Maybe used it for storage or whatever, but it's great because now we can actually see exactly what it was like in here. Again, they literally were treated no better than animals. You know, we treat our pets better than that.
So, with
Quite often,
the
yes.
kind of violent angriness of the basement, do people get, like, physically touched or scratched or anything?
You know,
down there?
I have had, and I don't know about anybody else, I've heard a couple I know of, but I had a guest last season, 2 seasons ago, woman, stopped down at the gas chamber at the end of my tour as everybody was leaving, and her boyfriend, husband, whatever, came up and said, look at the back of her legs. And she turned around, and down both calves, she had scratches, and I do have those photos. I took pictures right there while she was standing at the gas chamber. So that was literally, you know, we go from here to the gas chamber in 45 minutes. So, you know, it was when, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, you could definitely see them. People get touched in here, but like I said, it is usually not malicious. I mean, it just isn't. But touching, hearing voices, seeing shadow figures, I've heard my name, I've got my name on EVPs before. So the best thing you can really do in this facility, in our opinion, is talk to them like humans. Just, you know, do you have a family? What's your wife's name? You know, do you like gravy
How
on
far
your mashed
are we into
potatoes? That's
this?
one of my favorite
feeling
questions.
like it's only a half hour.
You can
Oh,
ask them all
43
day
minutes.
what they did to get in here. First off, you may not want to know because these guys were, can't stress enough, they were the worst of the worst.
They were criminals.
They don't want to talk about that all the time. You know, they want to talk about themselves. You try to make it personal. You got to think outside the box because sometimes they'll just shut down, you know, if you start asking things like that. So this upper courtyard area was different things over the years. There was once a working water fountain out there, greenhouses. So imagine you've got a mass murderer growing award-winning roses, but, you know, gardening was therapeutic. So it was a way to help them relieve stress, keep them calm. There was a chapel at the end of the sidewalk, and it was built in the 70s. It was very modern looking, and so when they started tours, they actually demoed that intentionally because aesthetically it just didn't really match the quad, you know, area up here. And I have been told by employees that worked here, and our day tours, history tours, are done by employees that used to work here. They said that was a building that a lot of guys did not want to work in because there were so many corners and angles. It was very easy for inmates to hide, so a lot of knifings and shankings actually happened in the chapel. I mean, think about that.
In the house of God.
Yes,
Murder in
you
the house
don't
of
even
God.
have enough morals or standards to not. I mean, it was this place, it was just savage. I mean, it really, truly was. Every day just to make it into bed at night and be locked down to get up and do it the next day was probably a pretty amazing feat.
What was the nickname of this place?
The bloodiest 47 acres in America, and Time magazine actually called us that in 1967. This housing unit is just monstrous.
Before it was even closed.
You could spend a solid night or day. I'm gonna kick a couple of these open. Day tours that come through. We'll close some of these off. So that there was an office area. You'll see that out of bounds. That's a pretty common tag in here. It means inmates here don't belong there. Yeah. So that was office in there. This actually cage area, all of this caging was not in this housing unit originally. It was put in after the 1954 riot for added security, and I'll talk about that a little bit when we go downstairs. But this is housing unit number 3, and it was built in 2 different sections between 1914 and 1918. So first section, 14 to 16, they needed to expand, of course, because we needed more housing for inmates, had them coming in like crazy, and so they built another section on out the other end between 16 and 18. They called it 3A and 3B. And from this level all the way up end to end, again, 4 levels, that's our magic number in here, was general population. Now, in the early days, general population in here could have literally been anything from a petty thief to a mass murderer because they did not separate by crime in the early days. That, again, did not start until later on. So you could have had, 4 guys in a cell, and 2 of them been mass murderers, 1 of them kidnapped for fun, and the other one stole a coat because he was freezing to death in the winter. It could have been anything. So I'll just walk you over here just so you can kind of see. This area up here, I call it the mezzanine area. I'm not crow's nest, whatever you want to call it. When it was painted this blue and white, you see old photos of this building. It was gorgeous. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. It looked like an opera house in here. And you need to understand, the 3 housing units that you're going through tonight, along with the gas chamber when we get to that, they were hand-built by our inmates here. And when I say hand-built, they were issued pickaxes and shovels every morning. We had limestone rock quarries here on site, and they hand-quarried every stone. Got them up here by whatever means they had available on their back in a wheelbarrow, whatever, and hand-laid every one of these stones to build these massive housing units. It is an incredible feat of workmanship when you look at these things. Considering you look at those red brick ones that I said were built in the 1930s by state contractors and they're falling apart. True. I mean, it is apples and oranges, really. I talked about Sonny Liston over in housing unit number 4. Well, let me show you who was in this one. And a lot of inmates, in here over the years, especially again in the early days, we don't know what units they were in, what cells, because they got moved around sometimes. They kept very poor records in the early days. But we do know that right here was Mr. James Earl Ray. And I never knew the man was in here until I started working here at the facility as a tour guide. He came in, he was a petty thief, pretty much a nobody, small fish in a big pond in here, but he was a wiry little guy. He liked to escape from places. So he tried unsuccessfully several times here. They actually found him in some pretty odd locations. After he'd be missing for a couple of days, they'd locate him hiding in an air duct or, you know, God knows where, these weird places, and lock him down, you know, put him in punishment for a while, and then he'd try it again. He worked in our prison bakery. This was a self-sufficient city. Everything an inmate needed was in here. They never needed to take an inmate out. We had a hospital here. They never had to bring things in. Everything that was needed was manufactured, grown, produced, whatever, in the facility. So we had a bakery, and he worked in it. History tells us that the bread truck rolled out of the prison one morning because it did deliver bread to what we call satellite prisons or prison farms, which are medium and minimum security in the area, and would feed the inmates in those facilities. And he got into one of the bread bins, the boxes that would hold the baked goods, and they put loaves of bread and things on top of him. And the guard, for whatever reason, just did not check the van and the bins well enough that Sunday morning, I think it was a Sunday, and he drove out. He got out, skipped on down to Mexico, got him some reconstructive plastic surgery, came back, and almost a year to the day later, teletypes throughout the United States were going off from the FBI with his photo saying, "Anybody know this man?" Well, we said, "We do. He escaped from here almost a year ago." I said, "Could we have him back?" And they said, "Absolutely not. He just assassinated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr." So he was on our escapee list at that time with a $50 bounty on his head from escaping this facility. Yeah.
Yikes.
But again, you know, bounty's based on the crime you commit. And when he came in here, he was a nobody. So he didn't gain that notoriety until he went on to kill Dr. King. And of course, they took him to Brushy Mountain in Tennessee.
Brushy Mountain.
Yeah. He escaped once down there, caught him in about 3 or 4 days. So again, just huge. This housing unit is huge. Look at the window mechanisms. These would have had a hand crank that are now gone or broken. And they hand cranked these open every day and then cranked them shut every night, or as they, you know, needed the ventilation. And again, the story goes that when these broke, the cranks, you know, we didn't replace them here. Sorry, you broke it. We're not going to fix it. Somebody got the job, inmate-wise, of shimmying up this pole every night, and they hand opened every one of the windows as they went down, and then at night they went back up and closed them all. So can you imagine having that job in here every day?
No.
You know you were the smallest little guy that got that job. Oh, if you had to make a choice, definitely.
So what
Absolutely.
about like
Prisoner on prisoner murders.
Thousands.
Really?
We have no idea. And it is in the thousands. Again, in the early days, there were no records kept at all. Then as they did start keeping them, they were poor at best. They called them a warden's report, and some of them were actually just pencil, you know, figures of this many men came in this month, this many men went to the infirmary, the hospital, whatever. So we really just don't even know. Thousands committed suicides, thousands were killed in their own inmate-on-inmate violence. Some were killed punishment by guards, I'm fairly certain, of course, but we don't know. But the death in this place was astronomical. I mean, that's just the best word for
Through
it.
the roof.
Everywhere. You know, that's why they called us the bloodiest 47 acres in America, because they did a report, a survey, and I believe it was like from 1964 to 65 of all the prisons in America, and we had the most violence by death or fighting or whatever it was, that there was hardly an inch in here that didn't see bloodshed on it. So, yeah. Pretty insane.
yeah.
Need to make a call? Same thing over on this side. Again, it's just a mirror image of each other. So what's over here is the same over there as far as stairs and everything that take you up. Let's go downstairs. Let's do. And again, in this housing unit, I can turn the lights off. I can leave them on. We can do for a while of both, whatever you want. Okay, so upstairs was 3A and 3B, general population. This level, that side, again, mirror image of each other. They called it 3C. You know, they just continued on with the alphabet. It worked. 3C means death row. So this level is death row, both sides. Let's go this way. This is one of my favorite little locations. This is where they actually rinsed off death row inmate meal trays. You can see the slots, the drying racks, because death row inmates, you know, ate in their cells. They never came out. They were never commingled with other inmates. Rec time was segregated, and they didn't really get rec time. They didn't play sports, you know, or any of that kind of thing like the other guys did. They literally just, when the feds said we had to give them an hour out, because before that they were locked down 24/7, 365, and we never let them out. When they said we had to give them an hour out here in the back, they just cut a couple doors open, and they built dog cages. That is literally what they are. They're dog kennels. And they were allowed to go out and stand for an hour on a concrete pad. Yeah.
Yeesh.
Let's go this way.
Stand on a concrete pad for an hour, I'll pass.
And I'll tell you what's interesting about those back there is there are a couple of them that half of them are concrete and half of them are grass. And the first time I ever saw them, I was like, okay, what's the deal? You know, did y'all just not finish the concrete, or what? Did you run out? What happened? And Larry Neal, he was a head maintenance man here. He does the day tours. He came up to me and he told me, he said, I poured those, Jenny. And I said, okay, Larry, why? He said the inmates asked for that on death row. They wanted to be able to step on the grass with their bare feet. I mean, we really can't understand that it's that simple of not being able to feel the grass on your bare feet. Yeah. So, death row. So every cell on this level is a death row inmate cell. There are about 50 on this side, 50 on the other side. Death row was usually full capacity at all times, one man per cell. Never doubled them up, you know.
Lots of wild stories, by the way. If it wasn't for the fact that this was so interesting, I'd actually skip to
this is a dismal existence
getting to the investigations. But it's also really interesting just to see and understand what all went on in these places, too.
There and have come back and are getting ready
That
to
being
go
said,
again
it is
for the
getting late, so
final
I'm
time.
thinking that
One
maybe we'll
thing,
cut this
we
at an
notice,
hour
and the guests
40,
notice usually,
about
when
halfway.
you look in these cells,
But we'll see when we get there.
are compared to
I
others
said that
we've
before, I
been
ended up getting
through,
through the
and you
whole
know
video
why?
anyway.
No.
So they couldn't commit.
Really?
Well, that's an easy way out. We're not going to give you that luxury. You know, we're going to do it the proper way in the gas chamber. Again, where we don't get it, but yes.
Who were some famous death row inmates? Could you give like a couple stories?
Yes, there are a few, and we'll stop right here, seeing how we're in that location. How about that?
Perfect.
What a coinky dink. Right here, cell number 23 was Walter Lee Donnell. And Walter Lee was a snitch. And you know, in this prison, as in any prison, snitches get stitches and end up in ditches. They put a hit out on
Gave you
him
a
from
special
inside.
ditch,
He
my
had
boy.
snitched on a pretty large St. Louis robbery group, and they found out about it. They had some guys in here, put a hit out, you know, somebody take him out, we'll get you some money on your prison account. And so, like I mentioned over there, we hear that Mr. Jackie Noble was one of the ones who kind of masterminded the whole thing as far as putting it together in order to get to Walter. They literally set this place completely on fire. Almost all the factories, the dining hall, the admin buildings, the education building, the chapel, everywhere except their housing units. They were smart enough not to set their houses on fire. You got to give them a little credit, I guess. But they torched everything. They brought in the National Guard. Every police officer and state trooper in the state of Missouri was called in here. It was huge. People that lived outside of the walls literally were on their roofs with shotguns waiting to see if anybody escaped. And You know, if they saw something pop over the top of the wall, they were just shooting. They had no idea whether or not they were inmates, whether they were guards or employees or whatever, but they were not going to take any chances on any of the inmates getting out of this facility into the city. So they have really no idea where he is down here. They just know that he's being held in this building and he's on death row. And the reason they put him down here was strictly for his own protection, because this was the most secure area in the facility, was death row. So they locked him in this cell. And when they started that riot, there were a handful of them that were in on this whole thing. Kind of broke off as everybody else is, you know, running helter-skelter, setting everything on fire and tearing everything up and throwing bunks and etc. And they make their way over to this building, and they came in right through the front door where we came in, and they came right down the stairs that we just came in. And when they got down to the bottom of those stairs, I don't know if you all noticed, there was a little caged area where I call him the gatekeeper, because I just think that sounds cool. But the guard that would have ran the block down here as far as lockdown and things of that nature. So in that area, you'll see a lighted board, because it's a key and a board system. And so he sees these individuals coming, and he's like, okay, this isn't normal. You got about 6, inmates coming down the stairs by themselves, and he starts locking down death row. He locks all the gates, all the connecting doors, everywhere. He pulls the key out of the board, and he tosses it through the bars down there where we just came in, so they are unable to access death row, which was pretty smart for him to have done that in, that quick. So they kind of just look at him, and one of them goes, hey, that's okay, we'll be back in a minute. And a couple left, they came back, and they have a sledgehammer. And they walk right past him. There is a office area, and which is literally the wall right at the end of the hall where we are right now. And they take the sledgehammer, and they just bust through the subway tile wall. And they make a hole big enough for them to crawl through, and they all crawl through it and pick those keys up that the guard has thrown in down there, and now they have access to the entire death row, cells included. And again, they don't know exactly where Walter's at, they just know he's down here, so they just start down there on the end, methodically, and one by one, they are stepping up to the cells, asking the guy to come up to the cell so they can see his face, and nope, you're not the guy we're looking for. They let out a few, I guess. We've been told that a lot of them did not come out of their cells, even when they were offered. Don't know why. Maybe they thought better of it. Who knows? And they just make their way down. And so you think about Walter's down here somewhere. They're calling his name out. We're coming to get you and that kind of thing. And they come on down and they stop right here. And there's a gentleman that's just hovering over in the corner there, back to the cell door. And they're trying to get him to come up to the cell, and he won't budge. And they realize it's him. And so they take the keys and they slide that cell door open, and they step in there with that sledgehammer, and they bludgeon him to death inside that cell. I've heard other things, slit him, his throat from ear to ear, just whatever it was, it wasn't good. But the sledgehammer, we know that did happen. So you've got 6 grown men that just bludgeoned him to death right in there. All because of a hit for probably a pretty paltry amount of money to get to him. But this set of bars right here was actually installed after that riot, because these were not here, and it was to make it even more difficult to gain access to these cells, was because of what happened to poor Walter.
Wow.
Yeah. So you just kind of meander your way on through, and you'll
Grisly place Sam too.
Now these 4 cells right here, these are suicide watch, punishment for death row, depending on what they were being used for. There are 4 of these, so these are actually double sally-ported doors, and what that means is guard would have unlocked this one, stepped inside, locked that one, and then he would have unlocked this one. So you always had a locked door between you, outside, and the inmate. Concrete block. That's what they slept on. So no bunk, no mats, no blankets. They actually put them in a white paper suit because they gave you absolutely nothing that you could commit with. So, you could wrap your clothing around your neck and hang yourself. So a paper suit, you can't do that because it's just going to rip apart. And you slept on that concrete block. Yeah. So February, how's that feel?
So what was like the the most common way that people would take their own lives?
In here, there were a number of ways. I'm sure they could have made a weapon, of course. One way I heard, and I do know this is true because several of the historians have mentioned this, but let's go around here and I can kind of show you as an example. Okay. Here's the other ones of these. And then it just makes that same U-shaped pattern. You know why a U-shaped pattern is used, right? There's no corners.
Oh, there you go.
So this would have been a number of different things. They actually would make prison hooch in their toilet bowls. I can't imagine what it tasted like, but hey, you know, anything to get a buzz. And if you're drunker than Cooter Brown, they're going to lock you in here and let you dry out, you know. Or if they're doing a shakedown, you know, of your cell, you were shackled and then locked down in here. You know, death row inmate was never just standing off site, so, you know, off to the side somewhere while they did something. Just so you know, you probably see, all right, these are several locations throughout the prison. One of our guides, one of my best friends, Diane Kitchell, she took it old school this year. You know, we get bored, they get bored in here with the fancy electronic stuff, and so she hung these bells in several locations. And if you hear the bells and you know none of you are in the vicinity, you know there's something going on. Yeah.
And have you guys heard this?
Very first time that I came in here this year after she had hung them, I had actually completely forgot about that she had done it. Completely forgot about it. And I had brought in a tour, and when we bring our tours down here, we come around, we line them up, you know, over there and talk to them, tell them some stories, and then we walk them on around. And I had stopped my guests, and there were some young kids up in the front, and all of a sudden this girl goes, "Do you hear bells?" And I'm like, "Bells?" And I went, "Bells!" And I mean, come on! And I mean, we all went running around, and there they were, and I just got goosebumps right there. Nobody. We were the only ones in here. I mean, the only, and they were all behind me, so there was absolutely nobody that could have done it. Yes, and they had been ringing. There was no question. So it was
wow.
Because it just like took me a minute, and I was like, "Oh, the bells."
So the old-fashioned boys still do it old-fashioned.
So still death row. Again.
Simple is as simple does.
A couple other names.
And there's no breeze down here. There's no glare at all unless you got a fan.
Last individual that we executed here, he was actually housed over on the other side of death row, was George Mercer out of Kansas City, Missouri. And he committed well, it wasn't him exactly. I mean, he was part of it, but he was the president of a couple of large biker gangs out of Kansas City. Had a birthday, and his guys pretty much asked him what he wanted. And he said, there's that new waitress down at the bar that we go to in Belton, which is a suburb of Kansas City. He said, "I want her." And so they kidnapped her coming out of the bar one night. She was 22 years old, and they took her back to the house that they all kind of hung out in. And they brutalized that poor woman for almost a solid week. Of course, she did not live to come out of the home. But to this day, anybody that's associated with him will say he really, didn't do it, kind of like that whole Charles Manson thing. He's not the one that did it, but he certainly participated. He was an evil individual. I mean, he most certainly was evil. No question about that. So they call this the inmate walk, and they call this the guard walk after they put this middle row of bars. And when I first came in here on this level and I walked down, I didn't notice it over there, but I did over here. I looked down and I immediately noticed the difference in the tile. I mean, this side is completely worn off. So the guards walked a whole lot more than those inmates did, didn't they? I mean, that side's almost completely intact, but this is gone. Again, it is perspective and the way it's like, wow, okay. So just the constant walking back and forth completely wore this tile off this floor. The guards said this was a hard level to work, Again, these guys didn't have anything to lose, so they pretty much did unimaginable things. Mm-hmm. They showered like once every 2 weeks in the beginning. Yeah. I'm sure that changed. I'm not sure how much often as it went on, but I'm sure that changed. Again, 1 man per cell. Now, you do see multiple bunks now. And the reason for that is after we executed George Mercer, and they called him Tiny, by the way, his nickname was Tiny Mercer, they built a new facility in Potosi, Missouri, that is over in the St. Louis area, strictly for death row inmates, and I think like the 200, 250 of the most heinous individuals you can ever imagine. And they moved death row out of this facility, took it out of Jefferson City completely, moved them down to Potosi, and then this level became general population, just as it was upstairs. And so, of course, we just started, you know, stuffing 2 or 3 guys. It was probably 2 to 4 maybe in this building for the most part over the years, because this building, again, by the time this building was built and 1918 ended, the feds started coming in, you know, not too long after that. So, of course, they changed the standards as to how many men you were allowed to keep in an 8x8 or a 10x10, 12x12. And that is truly the real main reason that they closed this facility down. It was more financially feasible to build a new one and just move them there than it was to get this one up to standards. And in order to get it up to standards, we would have had to probably build more housing units, you know, because we were stuffing way too many in a cell, and that was just going to end up costing more money. So that was pretty much the only reason for decommissioning the whole thing. So
did you guys ever have any serial killers here?
You know, we did. One in particular, and he was from the Kansas City area, and his name was Robert Burdella. They called him Bob Burdella, and he was known as the Kansas City Butcher, or the Bone Collector. And Bob came in on a plea bargain, a plea deal. He copped, and he came in the 80s. He had a fetish for young men, and he kidnapped and brutally tortured 6, and he was all about torture. So he is, we like to refer to him as the Jeffrey Dahmer of Missouri, but he didn't cannibalize. I mean, he didn't take it to that step. But he did brutally torture. He kept detailed spiral notebooks of every detail of everything he ever did to these boys. Thousands of Polaroid pictures were found in his house, and they caught him pretty quickly. His 7th victim actually ended up escaping his house, flagging
all
down
your
a
horrible
UPS
atrocities.
Water meter guy, I think is what it was. And of course they called the police and swooped him on him immediately. He came in on a life without parole, and story goes that he had a heart condition when he came in, and that was real. He did. And we did have the hospital here, and we administered his heart medication, you know, every day like he was supposed to be receiving it. And then apparently he started writing lawmakers at some point saying, I'm not getting my heart medication, you know, at the penitentiary anymore. And it was not shortly after that that he was dead.
He died here?
I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't stop giving it to him.
But he died here.
Yes, he did.
Oh, I've definitely read all about him.
Yes, he did. Have you? I've read several books.
Yeah,
that
he is,
man.
when you say brutal, that is an understatement of how.
You know, he had a torture board. He gutted those poor. The Bone Collector. He actually took that name based on that.
Oh.
He actually came up with that nickname himself, I do believe, based on that individual.
Okay.
Yes. But the Kansas City Butcher was definitely.
And he had the House of Horrors. Too.
Oh yes, the house was awful. They ended up demolishing it. The city, yes, they raised it. They didn't want the people of the city wanted nothing to do with that house being.
You
there
didn't want to
anymore.
keep that around.
He also
You
owned
don't need
that
that negativity. That's another mark on the
flea market
land.
down in Westport.
Don't
Missouri,
need it.
Which is again suburb of Kansas City, and it was called Bob's Bizarre Bazaar. So fitting. We're going down here now. These stairs, you need to be very careful
even
on.
down
They're very
further.
short, and they kind of got a pitch to them. So just be careful when you're walking down. We're not down in this one yet.
Wow. This is definitely just so much crazy history here.
It is. It is history rich. I mean, there is no doubt about it. I am constantly Googling, we all do, constantly researching, listening for more information and stories, and you always come up with something new. I've even had we've had inmates on our tours before, and sometimes they're really chatty and they'll want to talk to you a little bit, and other times they're real quiet, you know, they just kind of walk around and look, or they'll bring their families in and you'll catch them going, you know, yeah, I was in this one over here, and so you're like, it's kind of cool. It really is. I've had some that have told me some really cool stories before. So upstairs, 3A, 3B. Death row was 3C. This is 3D. Kill your lights for a second in this spot. Just take a look.
Take in the darkness.
Holy shit.
Let the light fade from every room.
Whoa.
Okay. So in the early days, this was called administrative segregation, or ADSEG, and mentally and criminally insane in the very, very early days were in here, and of course they were removed at some point. They shouldn't have been in here at all. Then it became punishment for the guys upstairs. We know that James Earl Ray spent some time down here. We don't know which cell, but he did, being punished for one of those several escape attempts that he was unsuccessful. But I want to show you, when you look in these cells, let me find one. Okay, so when you look at these, you know, you think for punishment, you can step in, you think, wow, punishment, this is pretty big. Well, okay. You got a front door here, you got a patio here, you can receive guests, you know, not bad. No, this was actually a wall. So you had one cell here and one cell here. I mean, you could touch with your fingers. That's how big these cells were. Wow. And again, warden came in here, I think it was in the 1940s he came down, new warden, and he saw these and he said, no, you know, not on my watch. We're not going to treat, you know, men like this. So these cells are one of my favorite location, and here's why, and I'll show you why, because we're going to be going this direction anyway. Yes. Oh yes, come in here. Oh, you have to come in here. So look at the walls.
Oh, wow.
This is all inmate, every bit of it. Look at the clock. Life is short, get to know God. So some guy sat right up there on that ledge in the pitch dark with whatever he managed to smuggle down here and scratched this into the wall. Their names are up here. Mohawk Mike, something Life, Crip Life. And we had Bloods, Crips, Black Panthers right there, Crip Life. They were all in here in the 70s. It was one of the most violent time periods, decades that we had in here.
Brad was here.
Brad, that's my favorite one, because that's like the female Karen, Brad.
Brad. Or Shaky.
Shaky, I love him. Shaky, well, you get a lot of There's one right there. They're everywhere. Pot leaves, gang insignia. See, here's another one I like. Rest in peace. He listed all his gang guys up there. And over here we even have, yeah, because we also had the Aryan Nation in here. Sure did. Oh, it was awful in here in the 70s. It was awful.
What do you mean by that?
Violence. It was a brutally violent time period inmate-wise, because again, every gang that you could imagine,
every single gang and another violent group that you can think of all being locked in the same box.
And desegregated the prison. It was 10 years after the Civil Rights Act that they desegregated.
You look at movies like The Warriors. I'm going to pause this for a very brief moment here. You look at a movie like The Warriors and you think, oh, gangs, ha ha, funny, over top guys doing all this action adventure stuff. You got to remember, these people would do that to regular citizens. The Warriors are like an outlier of how good a gang could be. What the other gangs were like, at least from our outside perspective, watching through the Warriors, that's what all gangs and all these other groups were like. Horrific human beings out there to maim, harm, butcher, and do whatever they pleased, and do other horrific, god-awful things that are unmentionable on YouTube. So, yeah, that was the 70s. The reason why the movie The Warriors happened is because it was already happening for quite a while. They made a nice action-adventure story out of it, and made a, I guess as you could argue as, street-friendly or home family-friendly version of a gang as you possibly could out of the Warriors themselves, but that ain't what this was about, and that ain't what it was like. It was some awful stuff. They just happened to decide that they wanted to wear blue or red and run into the streets looking for someone to hurt. And whatever means they could part them with. But yeah. But some people like to think that things were not nearly as bad back in the day. Nah, we just didn't get to see it as often because they kept it in our brick house. And it's just not on your backyard.
Officials didn't do it. It was because the inmates wanted no part of desegregation. You know, again, people do not understand. On the outside, it's different. When you're in here, you need to be with whoever is going to have your back at all times. So I really hope that was thunder because we all heard that. Yeah. And that's the bad thing about rain in here, so you'll have to kind of differentiate, but I don't think that was thunder. That was above us. That didn't seem like it was.
I was just kind of hoping it was.
Didn't see how it was outside. That seemed to be. And they will move bunks. They'll drag bunks.
I haven't heard it yet, but you can tell they're hearing something.
Okay, I'll just tell you. They tend to do things when I'm talking. What the heck?
That was not thunder.
Holy shit.
No, guys.
Holy hell, that is loud.
That was not thunder.
Wow, that's not thunder.
No,
That's not thunder. There's no one else in this area either. Or at least there shouldn't be.
What is
Oh my god.
Hello?
do that again.
Holy hell. Another point to make out as we're listening to this. These are solid stone and metal. Like she was saying, this was some hard work making these things, and that's why they're still even around. I shouldn't just be making that noise. And most of it's stone, and it's not like there's a bunch of metal plates on the roof or something, and they're just bending because they're cooling down or something.
Happened. What night was I here? I just got goosebumps on my legs. Saturday night. On the hunt Friday night, I was not here, but they heard it. I did not know this. I came in and did a tour Saturday night. Had my guests stopped up there, and I had 36, 38 people. Every one of us heard the screech. I mentioned it the next day, and then the people from the hunt Friday night went, okay, wait a minute. We just heard that the night before, and we have never heard this sound in here before, ever. And see, I'm talking and it's not doing it.
Can we sit quietly for one more second?
Boys? Who's up there moving furniture? That's footsteps. You want to come down here? You know you can. Can you make that loud boom again? Screech is coming from death row.
Where the heck is that? That was like a door slamming.
That's exactly what it sounded like. It was a metal door slamming.
It shook the building.
I was thinking it's almost like someone like slamming their hand on the bed.
Yeah.
No, that sounded like a door. And the weird thing is, I'm trying to think, there really aren't any kind of doors
That's what I was thinking.
like that. Where are you? Are you upstairs? You don't have to be afraid of us. Just want to talk to you. If we go around the other side, will you come down? And then we won't see you if that's what it is that you don't want us to see you. Thank you. You are awesome, you know that? Oh, we know that. Now they know that.
Stand by this doorway and see if. Let's just see if we can get it one more time, because that's insane.
Can we debunk it? You want to do that in here?
Are there doors like this? This one? Yeah, I've seen that.
Is it okay that we're here? You make that noise again, we might be able to tell where you are.
Right above them.
I've got to be kidding me. That's
a door.
That was on command. Okay. Steve!
Oh my god.
Okay.
Wait a second.
How long have you been in here?
30 seconds. Oh no.
What?
This is Dapper. This is Sergeant Dapper checking on me. He knows I'm in here alone. Dude, we have been hearing, but we were hearing
It
the
was a
weirdest bang.
metallic slamming,
And
like
then
repeatedly.
this screeching sound.
There was also a metallic sound like across the floor for a little bit.
I just had walked down the stairs when I heard your voice down here.
You weren't just standing here slamming the door back and forth.
I didn't.
Steve would not do that.
I mean, it sounded like
Yeah,
someone was like
very
slamming
Somebody
stuff.
was angry.
But I have your number.
Wow.
Oh my. Wow.
Yeah, when I started walking up the stairs and I started hearing a man's voice, I'm like, oh god.
I just heard, when I walked in, I heard a bang down here, and I heard you go.
Okay, see, that's
You
weird.
heard the bang.
It sounded like down low, though. It wasn't up here.
Okay, and see, for us, it sounds, and this is what they do.
It sounded like it was like on top of
Yes, we thought it was up.
I heard you say, "Are you upstairs?" I did hear that. And then
Okay, how wild is that?
You heard the bang.
Okay, there you go. You can't deny this one.
Oh my god.
We're good now.
Okay.
Okay.
Plasmire's working.
So at the time, I just could not believe that we were hearing
Wow.
those noises echoing throughout
Like I
the
literally
prison.
just
I
got
mean,
there.
What the hell is that? I mean, it was silent the whole time, and then we start hearing it's like a banging on metal. Connor thought it was banging on metal. I felt like it sounded like a door slamming. I couldn't really tell. But it was so loud that it was shaking the building, and coupled with the fact that we were hearing footsteps and metal squeaking, it seemed like something was there trying to make contact with us. Now, I don't know if it wanted the guide's attention that we were with, it wanted our attention, or maybe it was the fact that there was a thunderstorm above with all the lightning. It was ramping up the activity in there. I couldn't picture a spookier scene, being in an abandoned prison, one of the worst prisons in American history, underneath death row in no man's land, with lightning flashing through the windows, thunder rumbling above, and hearing a spirit violently slamming metal objects together upstairs. I mean, and it kept going. There were so many noises. I mean, just watch.
I mean, that's the crazy thing though. I mean, he heard the bang.
Come on, we're gonna do something else. We're going around here. Yeah. See, that's it. And it's weird that he heard it when he heard me ask about it upstairs. Oh wow. That was weird.
Well, I mean, you think about it. He would have to be sitting there slamming a door like 6 times we just heard it.
Well, from this far away.
He was already inside when we heard the last one.
He heard it.
Yes. Okay, so
And he
here's
thought it was
another
down
one of
there,
those
and you guys thought it was
examples
up there. It sounded
of
like
when
it.
they've left an original cell, and we've just managed to be lucky because of that. So not only did it have the bar, but it also had the covering, and then this is what they called the bean slot. That was prison slang. You know, you're going to put it in the bean slot. We're going to leave that right there. You can see. I mean, again, there were no toilets ever down here
So
for these
these were
guys.
just bucket
Yep.
cells.
And they didn't get a bunk or a mat. I mean, that's a toddler's closet is what that is. And so,
They're pretty good.
There it is again.
Do it again?
Yeah.
I want to see how, the reason we're going around, I want to show you anyways, we're going to see if we hear it from around this side, if we can differentiate where it's at. So they started with this walk as far as for punishment, and then of course as they needed to punish more inmates, because that's what we did, they expanded it and tunneled it all around back here. Did you hear a moan?
Yes, yes.
I didn't hear anything, but apparently they did.
No, listen. No.
There's the bang.
Well, I'm just gonna tell you, and this is the area none of us like.
Really?
Oh yeah. Really? No. 95% of us won't come down here by ourselves. I mean, it is the buddy system down here. Walking out of here alone, we've all felt something, you know, running up on our backs. Did you hear the knock?
So why don't you like this area?
This is different down here. You can already see why.
Did you say?
But yeah, it is a, it's a way different feel.
Why do you think that would be? Just
We really don't know. That's a cricket.
I think it's a cricket.
That's a cricket.
Oh.
It's a cricket.
That's what I've been hearing.
I thought a while ago when you said it, I was like, okay, I think that might have been the cricket. Welcome to Missouri.
Yeah, right there.
When the tornado happened and we lost building 4 over there and, you know, we weren't able to take tour groups in, we started bringing 2-hour tours down here, which we normally did not. This is for our ghost hunts and our overnight investigations.
I'm sorry.
No, those
Was
were
it?
right over here.
A pop. Like a
Yeah, that was weird.
Did you hear that too?
Yeah. Like right here.
Yeah, right here.
We don't know, I don't know, you know, you think about it and we try to figure things out in here and you can't because you'll go crazy trying to figure things out in here, let's face that. But I don't know if it was because we started bringing more guests down here more often, if it kind of piqued the activity.
Rustled
Or if
somebody's
maybe
jimmies.
the tornado left something that didn't originate here. I mean, we don't know. But it's been
know.
different ever since then. Sometimes
stranger
just on
things.
a massive scale, as you're kind of experiencing right now. So we're gonna go in here.
The thunder doesn't help make it any less ominous.
Jesus.
I have seen full shadows walk out of these cells before. So I'm gonna have You better stop it. Especially when I'm by a
You gonna give this woman a heart attack. You keep jumping like that.
Sorry.
I'm too old for that.
I'm 62.
I'm 60. I heard you, man. Don't be doing that to old people. Jeez. So, let's shut the lights off a minute. Cue your lights. See it over here. Feel it over
Feel it
here.
in the dark.
Because you need to turn around. You should be. We have all removed people down here who are nauseous, headaches, full-blown crying because they're just, you know, overwhelmed with this sadness feeling that they can't understand. They mess with you down here a little bit more. Like, you're on this side, you'll hear tapping and things over there, so you go over there to that side to investigate, and it starts doing it over here, so it kind of keeps you going with that cat and mouse thing. So, through this door, it's just kind of like no man's land back here.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, we get mediums in here a lot, and of course we've had a lot of other paranormal groups, and they just feel different things in this area. They tend to tell us to just, you know, be careful when you're down in this area. I can tell you 2 big stories of my own from in this area. I have never screamed in this facility in 8 years that I've been here, except for last season when I was in here. And it was myself and an assistant and about 3 or 4 guests. And we all just gathered down there, and it is a dead end, excuse the pun. So if you go down there, you got to turn around and come back. And I was standing with my back up against the wall, and they, you know, were around me. James, the guide assistant, was over here. And we were just, you know, running a spirit box or whatever. And all of a sudden, I just felt the biggest poke in my back that I've ever felt. And I screamed. I was like, who? You know, is somebody do that? And I turned around, and no, I mean, there was absolutely no way that anybody could have been behind me, but I felt my shirt move. I mean, it was my lower left, like right above my hip back here, and it was just jab. I was out. I mean, it was like, nope, I'm done. I'm out of here. And then it was several years ago, don't remember exactly when, had a couple of people on a hunt, which we get a lot of those non-believers and disbeliever type, and we tend to change their minds in here.
Very quickly,
And I was down here, and there's a shower at the end of the walk, right down there. And the shower is just, I don't know, it's just creepy on steroids. It just really is. And so I ventured in there one night, silly me, I don't know what I was thinking. And 2 of these guys that were non-believers were down in there, and I was again running a spirit box, and I was sitting. Every shower area have these little concrete benches where they could have put their towel or, you know, whatever. And I'm sitting on the bench, it's up against the wall, and spirit box, you know, you were getting a couple cool things off. And all of a sudden it says mirror, and it says it like 3 times, and I'm like, mirror? And I mean, I was up and I was out of that cell in a nanosecond. And these guys are like, what? And I said, step in there and look above my head where I was sitting on the bench. Yeah, there's a mirror right above my head. And I'm like, I ain't looking in no mirror in here. Yeah, the damn mind.
So the psychics just said you shouldn't go back.
Yeah.
What was that? I heard that.
Okay, now wait a second. I heard more of a...
What'd you hear?
I heard like a breath type of a...
That's what I heard, yeah.
Well, I know when we stepped through the door over there, we heard the moan.
I'm all back.
Who's in here? I'm coming in. Are you in here with us?
Tension music in this episode too. Holy smokes.
Whoever's making that noise upstairs, will you do it again? Trying to figure out where it's coming from.
Feels great.
Windows open. There, that was a good one. You behind us? Did you follow us in here? Thunder.
That's thunder, yeah. That one's thunder.
Metal. Metallic tap. You're following the bars around here. You're following us around.
That's what I think. I think they follow us around. If you're in here and want to communicate with us, will you make a noise? Got some good energy in here to use.
Scream. Did you hear that?
I can tell where it's coming from.
Could this... It's like straight out of horror movie right now. The lightning, the thunder.
I mean, I can't confirm it, of course, but I talked about having inmates on our tours every now and then. 2 weekends in a row, about a month ago, I had inmates on a Friday or a Saturday night, just a 2-hour tour. And one of the gentlemen came up to me over in Housing Unit 4, in the old housing unit. And he said he was in that housing unit, late 80s, early 90s, and he said a couple things that confirmed that he knew exactly what he was talking about. He said there was a gentleman that was on the 3rd tier, way in the back. He was within about 3 to 4 days of his release. And you know that institutionalization is a real thing for guys who have done a lot of time. And he was so scared about leaving and being on the outside that he hung himself right there in the housing unit off the 3rd tier. Yeah.
So he just wanted to stay here in prison.
Well, he didn't want to be out. You know, they can't survive. They don't know how.
Wow.
They just don't. So again, we can't quite understand that, but you know, you're used to being told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. You get thrown out, and after you don't know anything, and you know, decades have gone by and things change in the world. Nowadays, they're taught, you know, like computers, and they know how to use a cell phone. But back in the day when you were locked up, you know, and things happened like automobiles and airplanes, and you come out after, you know, 30, 40 years, and it's like, yeah, you just don't even know how to survive. So it's pretty sad. It's exactly. And that's exactly the analogy I use when I tell the story. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's true.
And then, how many people do they estimate died here?
We don't know.
Is there like a ballpark number?
Thousands. I mean, literally, I have never heard a number. All I have ever heard is thousands. And if you figure
Thousands.
168
Don't even know how many
years
in the thousands.
of 3,000 to 5,000 guys in here at any given time, it had to have, it probably was in the tens of thousands, would be my guess. But no,
Lord.
we have no clue. No clue at all.
And at the end of the day, you'd say this place is haunted.
Absolutely. No question. Do you?
Yeah, I can already definitely say that.
I kind of already
Well, you all are
see
going to have a
some
great time now because you're
pretty
really going to start
strong evidence
investigating.
here.
So
Boy.
we're going to go upstairs, and on the way, maybe we'll hear that sound again, and we'll maybe try to pinpoint where that's coming from. Otherwise, you all need to come on back in here and see if you can.
Don't you come back and poke around in here now.
Yeah.
Good luck. Hope you have some stationaries, because no one's going to believe you.
I will be up in like the lobby area. I will also come out periodically to see where you are. I try to jingle keys or something as I'm walking out.
No, I think that was coming definitely death row
I
area.
think it was too. It's exactly where I think it was coming from. Hey guys! Tell us where you are.
No, you got some good energy.
Make a noise. We'll
It's a
come
heck
up
of a
there.
night. Lots of it flowing. Just in the air. Ooh, what was that? That could have been a bug, but... Oh.
Can you make that bang one more time for us? We're just here to communicate with you. We're friendly.
And I mean earlier, when we were getting ready to go up the stairs, it did it on cue, right when I asked.
Right when we were going up.
And so see, it can't be wind, because it's still windy.
Yeah.
It's still raining, and it's not doing it anymore.
Well, now the thunder's here. There wasn't even thundering before.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we should get our stuff.
Yes.
I am truly excited to do this.
That was great.
That was crazy.
I was going down here one night with a group, husband, wife, and I think it was a son that was here like on his 16th birthday. And I was just going down. They're like, can we go down with you? I said, sure. And so I had a spirit box going, and I literally Got to the top step, I took 3 steps down, and it said, "Are you a friend?" And I whipped around and I came right back up, and I mean, I was stopped. And here was the dad, and we were literally like nose to nose, and he was like, "What?" And I'm like, "I ain't nobody's friend down there, so." I'm pretty certain they ain't mine.
No way, no how. Not anyone down there. Nothing friendly down in that place.
It's a little bit darker. It's a little heavier feeling, but we also tend to get a large shadow figure over here on this side. He is photographed quite frequently in here and seen quite often at the end of the hallway.
I had a question.
Yep.
The wall that they broke through,
Uh-huh.
where was that?
For the riot?
Yeah.
Right here. Used to, before the paint started shipping, you could actually see. Well, you can actually still see right here.
Can you see how?
Uh-huh. A little difference. So they just bust and sewed that, and they went straight down the walk. Yep.
And so why do you say that side is darker? Would there be any reason for that?
No, because there shouldn't be. I mean, ooh, that's a good one.
That one's close.
I don't think it's any more like underground over on, you know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't like go at an angle or anything. But yeah, it's a little bit darker over there.
That was a perfectly timed question. Like I said, why is it darker? Well,
What do you think, boy?
Great question.
So the end of the tour
No answers.
meant one thing for us. We had to then be alone with the spirits, and we all felt like they were waiting. I mean, they're everywhere in there. They're the death and the violence in that prison is just spread out throughout the whole complex. So no matter where we really decided we were going to start, we were going to find something dark and something that wanted to speak with us. I mean, even the cop that came in, if you saw in that video footage, he had heard the banging and he came into the building because he thought we were in trouble. But we had heard the banging, we thought it was the cop. So we all knew something was happening that night. And we were about to find out that
Both
that
parties
something
don't know what the heck that is,
still
but
there.
they heard it clear as day.
Okay, everybody, so it's about 10:30 at night right now. We don't have the longest time in this prison. What an amazing tour we just had.
See,
wow.
I was saying, I'm
think
not
we're
sure
standing
how
right
if
now
I'm gonna
next
be
to the
able to stay up
dungeon, if
for
you'll
all
remember, where
this,
the
and we're
inmates would
already
bash their heads on the wall until they died.
like 6 minutes
It's a
past
horrific
midpoint,
part of
and
this
I'm
prison's
like, oh
history,
yeah, let's
but
go.
I'm shocked by that door slamming sound. I mean, can you
That sound
believe
was
how
wild.
loud and real that was,
Wild and
confirmed by
right
a cop who was in a different
right
part of
in
the
the mic,
building who also
like,
heard the same thing and
felt
came
like it
over
was
because
right
he thought
above
something
them.
was wrong. As you can tell, it is really hot in here. I've sweat through my shirt like 3 times already just doing the interview, so it's interesting. But I mean, you gotta imagine, this place is right next to a river. This place is right next to the train tracks. This place is built out of limestone and sandstone. And on top of all of that, if you follow paranormal theory, those 3 things supercharge the location. There are bodies that are probably still buried here that they never moved from the prison cemetery to the other burial ground. And on top of all that, there is a massive lightning and thunderstorm outside, which is once again supercharging the energy of this prison. I just want to say thank you to everybody who watches these videos, because I remember back in 2017, to those of you who've been watching that long, I came to this prison and I took a tour of the place, and I was like, wow, I couldn't even imagine being able to rent this place out someday. Tonight, we're here, so you guys have made one of my paranormal dreams come true, and I cannot thank you all enough. If you love the channel, be sure to leave us a like on this video, hit the like button, and comment, "Let's go to
And again,
prison"
if you're
in the
enjoying the
comment
content
section.
from
We're giving
them,
away a
check
free
out the link
gift
to
bag
their
to one of the
original video
viewers.
below.
But anyways, enough about me. Jeff, how are you doing, my brother?
Yes, I'm doing great. I'm hotter than hell. It's been great.
Jeff,
First
my
time,
man,
Connor, you and me
Papa
together
Scoops.
to do a prison. I mean, this place is freaking amazing. Like, you guys saw the interview.
It's wild,
You
yeah.
saw the
That tail
expressions
end
on
of
our
that.
guide's face. That's been here
Tail
8
end of that
years.
interview just-
The noises
Ooh.
that we were hearing. So that for me was, and then I actually documented by the police officer that you see on tape. That's pretty cool, I think. But yeah, all the noises already that we've been hearing. This place is creepy. Thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of deaths, she said. So I'm ready to go. I mean, once again, let's go.
And let's go say hi to
Okay.
our 3rd member tonight. Dun 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 dun
It's so
dun
creepy,
dun dun.
that big window behind
Oh,
you.
yes.
Oh.
I just keep seeing
When you have
The
lightning.
lightning through that window.
Just keep seeing them
How's it
silhouetted by
going, my
lightning.
brother? Ooh.
Well, first of all, I want to say this place is absolutely
Connor.
nuts. First, like, actual penitentiary that I've been able to do an investigation at. Super excited to be here. We've already gotten crazy evidence, and we haven't even started investigating.
Not even trying, yeah, not even
But
trying.
Also, a little shameless plug.
Yep. Check out the Murder in America merch, baby.
This is a little sneak peek, or not really
It
sneak
might be
peek.
out
It's
by
This is a sneak peek.
yeah. This is.
Don't, wait a second.
Don't want to do that in
Family
here.
friendly, come on.
But
Family
thank you
friendly.
guys for watching. You're
Non-friendly
in for a treat
prisoners, they
tonight.
might get ideas.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if this merch is going to be out yet, but if you don't listen to Murder in America, Courtney and I's podcast, make sure you listen to that. And how dope are these shirts, man?
Super dope.
Okay, guys. Give each other like
Speaking of which, my merch also in the links below on this video. And if
Cool.
you haven't heard yet, this is one of them that I'm wearing right now. I have the shirt and the hoodie. Got my friends the shirts, and so far they seem pretty happy with them. One of
We
them
gotta
was a
start, like,
little
planning out what we're gonna
odded
say
out by
after
it
three,
being
'cause we're
a
getting
size
real
bigger,
bad at
but
that.
they seem to
Let's go.
realize why. Some online shirts can be a bit snug, and I would highly recommend if you order one of the shirts, order a size above your normal. They are a little bit small. They are internet order shirts, after all. Yikes, that is wild lightning.
Okay. To all of the prisoners here at the Missouri State Penitentiary, we are coming here tonight
eat some more of my
to speak
Cheetos
with
bones.
you. We are not prison guards. We are not prisoners.
Ooh, a skull.
We are just normal people.
I heard something.
Right there, right next to you, Connor. Kenneth. Okay, guys, so I have to stop this footage real quick immediately. I actually didn't know this until right now when I was editing this video, but one of the 40 people who was executed here at Missouri State Penitentiary's name was Kenneth Boyd. He was 23 years old. He shot someone and killed them during an armed robbery on January 13th, 1951, and he was executed on July 10th, 1953 in the gas chamber that we were headed to later that night. Was Kenneth potentially housed in this housing unit that we were in? Is his spirit still around there? I don't know, but it's a very, very bizarre connection that I couldn't exclude from this video.
You looked up over here. Did you hear something back here?
Yeah.
I heard something behind me.
Like a shuffling noise.
I heard that noise as well.
So thank you for showing us that you're here. I just want to introduce ourselves to you guys right now. My name is Colin.
My name's Connor.
I'm Jeff.
And if you're here, could you give us a sign by walking towards one of these red lights that we have on the floor? Or by banging on something? Or using your voice?
Said, please go left.
Which left?
Ooh, hello.
Wait, which one was that? Do you want? Thank you for touching that red light, by the way.
That's what we just asked.
Yeah.
Can you do that one more time? If that was you? Any of them? Oh!
Hey, son. How you doing?
Thank you. Dude, none of the other ones. Oh, it just walked towards you. Thank you. Okay, was that a sign that you want us to go that direction? You said go left.
Interestingly, both are Connor's left.
Yeah.
Seriously. No to all.
No to all. Could you make a sound for us?
Where are you right now?
Zachary.
Two men's names, Kenneth and Zachary.
If it's Kenneth or Zachary, can you come touch one of these red lights? We'd love to talk to you.
Yo, hi.
What? Which one? Which one?
These
Both
two,
of
right next to us.
All right,
Okay.
Kenneth and Zachary, it's nice to meet you.
Can I just ask you, what did you guys do to end up in prison? I'm just curious, Kenneth or Zachary?
I'm not sure about my bag.
God.
Quite a heavy snacker tonight.
That's way at the end.
Okay guys, so I'm a little bit freaked out. I just got goosebumps and started screaming while editing. So we didn't know the story of Kenneth at all before we filmed this video. We had no idea if that was an actual connection to the prison or not. We asked what this person did. It said store, so we assumed in the footage that they had robbed a store. Well, in reality, right there on the Missouri State Penitentiary website, they discuss how Kenneth robbed a store and a murder occurred, and that's why he was executed. So, I don't know, I'm a little bit freaked out. I had no idea how relevant these answers were while we were there in the moment, but I think you can't deny that Kenneth at that point was actually with us. I mean, how bizarre is that connection? That's just
a little
that's
too
wild
much of a
and a little
quickie
bit freaky.
Oh my God, again.
Dude, that one again too.
In between all the devices going
right
on.
down there.
Holy smokes.
It said go down.
Oh no!
Go down. Like, where should we go?
Where should we go? To the dungeon, dude. You want us to go to the dungeon? Oh!
Well, eventually we're gonna go. Oh man, it's creepy.
You want us to go down there, down the stairs? Can you make a noise wherever you want us to go?
Oh, look at the cat ball right there, guys. Guys, cat ball right here. First time. Are you coming out of this cell door?
Please believe us.
Please believe us.
Please believe us. Gregory.
A lot of men's names.
If it's...
God, all these... What the hell? What? Wait a second. Okay, but where's that pointing at?
Gregory.
There goes the cat ball again.
Okay, but that shouldn't go off with me here, right? I mean, it can't.
I can't find my way.
I can't find my way. Jeez.
I think the go down is like a sign. I think we need to go down to the dungeon. Yeah. In front of me. Me.
Look, and right it says that cat ball.
Yeah, I think it might be time to go down to the dungeon, guys.
Wow.
Let's just bring the REM
for quite a
pods.
while.
Like everybody grab one and then static.
Both, okay.
Followed us
Can't
down.
hardly get set up before they go off.
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, another male name.
Dude, what is that thing doing?
And that's right in front of the door over there.
Yep.
Jeez.
That's the other one.
Multiples now. Going off again.
He was going nuts.
What is that signal? Oh!
You know what? I'm gonna put the
Strangle.
I want to put this
Strangle!
I'm gonna put this down here. You guys walking down here?
What is happening?
What's happening?
Yeah, it's like they don't.
That's crazy to think with like what's happening, how they said it was like complete darkness and like it was disorienting to the people that were down here.
But look at my life was short, Jeremiah and strangled.
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft. Okay. If you're down here in the dungeon, will you
Modern technology's probably got a
make a
lot
noise
like
for
witchcraft
us?
to them these days, yeah.
It's right there.
Can you come walking down the hall and make that music box go off for us? That's called a music box, this little black coffin. Walk in front of it, please.
Are you hearing like a ringing noise?
Dude, they just stopped.
It's freaking stifling hot down here.
I can't imagine 12 people. in each one of these, and probably more. That's all they want to admit that they
Justifying. Okay, can I ask? That's me and my feet. Can I ask? Who's down here? Can you tell us your name?
Infernal One.
Come, Infernal One. Have you ever heard that?
No.
That's a bizarre.
Come,
Infernal One. So a lot of the viewers do come up with, things in comments on these words or phrases, right?
Yeah.
So if that makes sense,
Yeah,
come.
if any of you guys can make any sense out of that, that's a weird one.
Yeah.
That's some cryptic
And it said
like level
witchcraft
stuff
right
there.
before that. It's almost like a ritual. Witchcraft, come Infernal One.
True.
Like summoning something dark.
Wow, come Infernal One.
Every time we do a prison, it's f***ing dark and evil. It's not good. Like, what good energy would be down here?
I mean,
Fair. After what happened out there.
Jasper! I just asked for a name. Jasper.
Did you hear the knock before that one started going off?
Okay, Jasper. We just asked for your name. I'm glad that you're here. If you see this red light over here, could you walk over to that one and touch it maybe? Yeah. Look at it. It said yeah. Jeff, zoom in on that. Oh! Whoa! Whoa!
Hello, Jasper.
Look at that. Get down on camera. Thank you, Jasper.
That's crazy.
Oh, dude, I got chills. Dude, he's right there. Do you feel an energy shift right now? Like straight up.
And like a slight breeze now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a breeze in here. Okay, Jasper. What got you sent down to this part of the prison? Did you hurt somebody? Why were you being punished? I wanna tell your story.
Were the guards just being assholes? We heard that.
Catherine.
We heard that sometimes the
remember-
officers were assholes to you.
Remember she made a point of, women incarcerated down there. Remember that?
Down here?
Kind of forgotten about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like, which is this one?
Give us a good. I don't
Look
want
how
another
someone
name.
stops.
Who? Like, what did you do? Did you hit someone? Did you smuggle something in here?
Yeah, look how still those things have gotten all of a sudden too.
Dude.
3 o'clock. Is that what's the witching hour?
3 o'clock. Oh.
Is it the witching hour? 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock.
Witchcraft, that just went off when I asked it. Again, what did you do that made you incarcerated down here? Tell us what you did.
Did you hear that?
Are you still here, Jasper? You can touch that thing again if you're still here.
Did you?
Boy, Jasper's still here in the room.
Did you die here in this prison?
Those are just going off.
We know a lot of people died down here. And that the corrections officers were very mean.
We know this was very tough down here for you, and food was probably really scarce. What did you like to eat? What was your favorite thing that you could have a food group on here?
George.
George.
Yeah, they like eating George.
They like to eat
Oh
George.
shit.
Fucking George.
Look, they ate Georgie Porgy pudding pie. There you go.
Oh.
There, see?
Oh my god, your voice scared me.
Now, this is really unfortunate that we were laughing during this part just because Jeff asked, what do you like to eat? And it said George. We all thought that was funny. We were going a little crazy down there because it was so hot. But in reality, there were 2 inmates named George who were executed at the Missouri State Penitentiary in the gas chambers. There was George Bell, who was 35 years old when he died, who shot and killed a Kansas City, Missouri police officer and was executed on December 2nd, 1949. Then, in a strange twist, there's also George Tiny Mercer, the very last inmate to be executed at the prison, who we actually talked about on our tour. George Tiny Mercer was convicted for the assault and murder of a 22-year-old named Karen Keaton in Belton, Missouri, and he also had a charge against him of assaulting a 17-year-old girl when he was executed. The date that he died was January 6th, 1989. So sadly, we kind of glazed right over this, but this was a huge capture, and I wanted to stop the video and point it out now because, wow, how crazy is that? Maybe one of the Georges was with us down there.
Georgie Porgy pudding pie. You like pudding?
Let me ask, is there somebody down here? Why don't you come walk right up to me? You can come out of your cell.
Do you not like it when people come down here?
God, I'm so hot. Yeah, it's stifling. It's weird how those REM pods have stopped. I know. Going off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have they left here, or?
It feels kind of dead in here.
Yeah, kind of does.
Is this the number 4 housing unit?
Yeah, you're right.
Is it?
It is. This
I
is
think
4.
so.
Yeah. That just said
that's
the number
interesting.
4 right there. Okay, so we have a lot of ground to cover here in this prison, off camera. We've just kind of been sitting here for, I'd say 30, 40 minutes. Nothing, no noises really. Some intelligent contact, but I definitely want to return back to the part of the prison where we were hearing those doors slamming with death row and the no man's land. And then that starts right when we're talking about leaving.
It was quiet, completely silent.
But I think we should get going, don't you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's where we were getting like the most evidence before we had even brought out any gear.
Okay, well, thank you guys for talking to us. You can follow us over to Death Row if you want, but I don't know if that's a place you'd really want to go. Okay? Well, let's head on over, man.
So the energy was definitely there in the first cell block that we went to. We were getting pretty intelligent responses to things. It was just for like the prisoners back in the day, no AC. So it was incredibly hot inside of there. So we decided that it was best for us to go on to the next spot in the location because we didn't have much time there. And so we headed over to Death Row.
Okay guys, so we're currently in Death Row. This is the exact prison cell where the rat, if you'll remember in our history tour, was murdered with a sledgehammer. So his body would have been in this area right here. And guys, I already feel a whole lot different in here, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible.
The moment we stepped in here, I started feeling nauseous, faint, like almost like I'm gonna faint. And it's also hot as shit, so that's part of it. But
That doesn't
it's
help.
just, if you remember,
I'm
this is
excited
where
you boys
earlier
can
we
pack
were
enough
hearing
water.
those extremely loud bangs. Before we start using the dual port, I want to just listen and see if we can hear anything. Okay, to anyone here on Death Row?
Easy there.
We're here to talk to
Easy there,
you.
Camera. I'm still right here.
My name's Colin.
Hello out there. How are you this evening?
Oh! There goes the REM pod right away. Did you just walk up to the cell?
Remember they were talking about a moth? Yeah. Well, that's a sign of something. Oh, land it on Colin.
It's the sign that we have bright lights.
Oh, God. If there's anybody down here with us right now, can you make a noise so we know you're here? We know somebody was making noises up here earlier. Can you do it again?
Come in the cell with us. We're going to try to let you talk through this box. So as many of you want to come in, come in. Keep coming.
Hello to you too.
I'm just going to assume like they've, some have come in, right? They're in here.
Can you make a knocking noise like this?
Don't do that.
Anybody that's here, can you make a noise for us? Rattle a door, knock on anything for us, please. Just, we're here to make contact with you. We're friendly. Please.
Was that the same f***ing noise?
That was like a huge bang, man.
That sounded like 3 cells over. Wait.
Oh! No, what the f*** was that? Jesus, what are you doing, man? Oh! No, what the f*** was that? Jesus, what are you doing, man? Oh! No, what the f*** was that? Jesus, what are you doing, man?
Jeff's so spooked he's not even sure what's going on.
Can you make that bang again for us?
So f***ing close. Wait, that sounded like this cell block, did it not?
That's what I'm saying. It sounded like 3 cells over.
That's me.
And that was like the exact sound that we were hearing earlier.
Exactly. That's what's f***ing tricky.
Come out and hear more, or do you want to still stand there with that huge bang?
We should do the dual port because we still don't know where it came.
Can you do that one more time?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Whoa!
Look behind me. Does this mean anything, or is that me?
No, no, this.
Look at this thing going nuts, man. Oh.
Dude, that proximity meter just went off. That's on the lowest setting. Somebody just walked in the middle of us 3.
Because like I didn't.
Oh, dude, I got goosebumps actually.
I didn't move, man. That thing's going nuts. Oh.
Dude, all my hair is actually on end right now.
I'm feeling like weird as shit.
Me too. Okay, does that mean that you just came to speak with us in the cell? Oh,
Okay, I think we should.
okay, I think now, yeah, let's do the dual port.
Damn, this is scary.
Wild stuff going on. Yeah, that stuff
This is the room where the
all of a sudden goes off in a row and then immediately goes quiet again.
Sledgehammer.
Hurt.
Okay.
All right. We would like to talk to whoever's here on death row with us. Whoa.
Oh.
Was that from the box or from outside?
I couldn't tell.
I couldn't. That sounded like he came from the hallway. I'm on edge after hearing that f***ing bang.
I keep like looking, checking on that.
Can you tell us your name?
Walt. Really tried to say it.
Walter?
Walter.
Just a tiny bit.
Right here, cell number 23 was Walter Lee Donnell. And Walter Lee was a snitch. And you know, in this prison, as in any prison, snitches get stitches and end up in
Walt.
ditches.
Seems you're
And they
still
just make
here.
their way down, and so you
Walt,
think about Walter's down here somewhere.
didn't
They're
pay
calling
off,
his
eh?
name out, you know, we're coming to get you, and that kind of thing. And they come on down and they stop right here. And there's a gentleman that's just hovering over in the corner there, you know, back to
Marshall
the cell
face.
door. And
Guess who it
they're
is?
trying to get him to come up to the cell, and he won't budge. And they realize it's him. And so they take the keys and they slide that cell door open and they step in there with that sledgehammer and they bludgeon him to death inside that cell. I've heard other things, slit him, his throat from ear to ear, you know, just whatever it wasn't good. But the sledgehammer, we know that did happen. So you've got 6 grown men that just bludgeoned him to death right in there.
Can you say that clearer, please? What happened in this room?
Were you killed during the riots?
The past.
That was really clear. What do you mean the past? What happened in the past? Evil. I heard evil.
Is there evil people here?
So your name was Walt? Why were you in prison, Walt?
The back.
Yes.
I just have to say this again and stop the footage. We did not actually realize that Walter Lee Donnell was the man who was bludgeoned to death in that very cell with a sledgehammer. And it's just crazy to me that we had gotten his name, we went with this line of questioning, and we had no idea how relevant that was to the area we were investigating. I mean, right now I'm watching this footage and I'm just absolutely shocked by how many things we captured on our devices that we just didn't understand were so relevant. When you investigate such a massive place with so much history, it's easy to
Hard to
lose
keep
track
track
of
of it
certain
all, yeah.
names. But I have to point this out and say it is so strange that we heard Walt when we asked for a name in the cell where a man named Walter was sledgehammered to death.
I'm next. I'm next.
And this is death row.
This is death row. It could be someone waiting to be like an imprint, like someone waiting to be executed. That must be what they thought all day. I'm next.
Yeah.
Like I'm next.
Were you a death row inmate?
You can tell us, we're here just to communicate, we're friendly. Were you on death row?
All right, guys, I have to stop the footage one
for
more
protection.
time because this is just so crazy. This is all stuff that I'm figuring out after the fact, after the investigation. So that response actually makes perfect sense because if you'll remember during our interview, Walter Lee Donnell was not actually on death row. He was in prison for a robbery charge, and he was only placed on death row because he had snitched out other members of his robbery gang, which meant that he was never given a death sentence, and no, he wasn't actually on death row. I mean, just wow, this stuff is mind-blowing to me. Anyways, let's get back to it.
What was the guy's name that was killed in here? Anybody remember?
Shoot.
What if it was Walter?
I want to say his last name is something with a W.
Is it on the cell? There's not a cell.
I think there used to be.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
I mean, because he wasn't a death row inmate. He was kept here because they were trying to keep him safe.
Oh, that's right.
This is like the safest area in the prison because it's the highest security.
Right.
At least Connor here is remembering something.
Here.
Can you tell us what happened to you?
What's that? I didn't catch it. I was kind of looking at the version of I see me on it. Here. Yep.
Can you tell us what happened to you?
Alright, he's here. Ton. Liked it too much.
Yeah, it sounded like. Oh.
Don't. Is there something evil here?
Can you tell me why you were in this cell? Oh my God, that's clear. Prisoner, I thought. Were you in this cell to be protected? That's what we heard. Is that true?
Beaten.
Spirit, I thought I heard it say.
You're kind of giving us mixed messages. Like, what ended you up in this prison? Did you murder someone? Did you hurt somebody?
You guys aren't listening to the thing it's saying.
What was that?
What?
That voice. Oh, what?
Hello out there. Here.
Here. Right when I thought I heard a voice from out there.
That's
and
what
then
I
that
said.
went off.
That's what I was saying.
So you're still here.
Right when we talk.
Is there a reason why you won't come in this cell and talk to us?
Can you tell us where we should go next? Where there might be some spirits that want to talk?
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay, where is it?
First.
Sound like first.
I heard first.
Hmm.
I'm not getting any sort of.
Should we do DR60?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that.
That might get a clear sound out of him, yeah.
Oh.
So you have your, are you rolling?
Yep.
Once again.
It's like it wants us to do the DR60.
Okay.
Do DR60 and then go down?
Yeah.
Maybe we just go down and just like bring the cameras only, no equipment, and just
Let's
listen.
bring DR60.
DR60. You could do
Wanna just do that now?
Yeah.
We gotta put on our costumes.
So we were receiving extremely intelligent contact throughout the entire night. Now, this wasn't as active as other places we've been to, and we were kind of rushed because we had a tight time limit inside of the prison that they granted us access to. It was just freaking me out the entire time because the energy in there is so oppressive, so bad, and I don't know, if something can bang on a metal cell that hard, it's kind of scary to think about what something like that could do to the human body.
But
I mean,
what it could
break
decide
your
to
bone?
do to you.
People
if
have
you
been
got
slapped
pissed.
that I know. I've been scratched. People have been shanked, attacked, pushed downstairs. What can a ghost really do to you? If it is a ghost, I guess. But we had to put all those fears aside and head down to the most notorious part of the prison where even the guides won't investigate at night. No Man's Land. Right beneath death row. Hey everybody, it's Colin here. So as I teased yesterday on the channel, we are dropping merch for the first time
Let's
in I
see
think
your
like
merch,
a
my
year and a
dude.
half. This
I've
time
been
it's
talking
different.
about
We
merch. I
actually had
love
all
my
this
merch.
merch printed
I think it
here
looks
in
pretty
Houston,
cool,
Texas,
but I haven't
where
gotten
we
any
live.
in
We're
public
going to be
comments.
shipping out
I do know
everything
my
by
friends I bought
ourselves,
for
and
have
it's
been
so
enjoying
high
it.
quality. So let me show you what we got here. First of all, we have the Paranormal Files Spooky
That
Ghost
one looks
tee,
actually
just
pretty
in time for
decent.
Halloween.
I was interested
this
in
was
that one.
hand drawn by a really good friend of mine, Kat, and it's printed on comfort colors. And if you've ever worn a comfort colors shirt, I have to tell you, I'm wearing one right now. It is one of the most comfortable things you'll ever wear. I mean, definitely the highest quality shirt that we could pick out. It was actually the most expensive, so we lost money on that end of everything, but we wanted to give you guys the best shirt that we could possibly give you. So this
I mean,
shirt
hey,
is
if you
now
make it
live
even
on our new
on some of the
merch
other
store. The
shirts
link is
or
going to be
break
in
it
the
above
description
even
of
on
this
the other
video.
shirts,
We're
it's
only
worth it for
selling
at least a
150
few
of
good
these
ones.
shirts, and then once they're out, they're completely gone. So So you should get them now
get them while
before
we
they
can,
run out
right?
of stock, because like I said, we're not going to be restocking these. We're going to be moving on to
Might
different drops.
think about it.
every
I'll
month
have to
or 2
look
months.
into it,
But
see what my money
we're not
looks
only
like
doing
at the end
merch
of
for
the
the
week.
Paranormal Files, we're also
Actually,
doing merch
find out about
for
that in a couple days.
Murder in America, our first official merch drop for the podcast that Courtney and I co-host. So we have the logo tee, which is our official logo from the podcast you see when you listen on all platforms. And then, these are my favorites. We have the 2 goth print, I don't know if you'd call it a colorway or whatever you'd call it, but we have a white and a black, both with the red Murder in America logo that I designed. And yeah, they're all printed on comfort colors. In each of these shirts, there's only 50 printed of each. So those are even more limited quality. But like I said, we're going to be doing new drops every month or 2 months. We have another drop coming at the end of October that we're really, really excited for, that ties into our documentary that we've been working on for months. But this is, I think, the perfect way to celebrate Halloween. As soon as you get your order, we're going to try to ship them out by the end of the week. So yeah, you guys should be able to get these in time for Halloween, for spooky season. And Connor, how high quality is this? You just tell me.
The highest of qualities.
Yes?
Ooh.
Ooh.
No, honestly, guys, we put our heart and soul into this. Me and Colin will personally be shipping all these out, and we're gonna do the first 10 orders. We're gonna do a little note for you guys.
Yeah, a little sign signature.
But super cool shirt.
I'll
I mean,
look
you've
real
seen
quick
us wear them
while
in the
this is
videos.
playing in the other tab.
Super comfy shirt for fall time. That's amazing. So,
Yeah. We're also in the new podcast studio. Just got this thing set up. We got some more news coming out, but can't talk about that yet.
No, secret.
For Murder in America or Paranormal Files, well, you must stay spooky, and let's get back to the damn episode.
Stay spooky.
Okay. Peace. So right now we're headed down to the criminally and mentally insane wing here
way too long
in the penitentiary.
I can't get it.
And if you'll remember, guys, this is the area where
meant to be, I guess. So wait
earlier
to see the Halloween
today
stuff
we were hearing those banging
noises.
noises. So we're going to do a DR60 down here. And like I said, we don't have the most time here at the prison. We're lucky to have what we've got. But yeah, sure.
Lines are hitting. Let's get going, guys.
Okay, to whoever's down here, I think we were hearing you earlier with the banging and the noises that you were making, but we're coming down here right now to talk to you. So if you could please make more noises, slam the doors again, and use your voice to chat with us, that would be amazing. Could you tell us your name loudly and clearly?
How did you die?
In the summer, was it really hot here? If so, say like hot or fire or something like that.
Did you have any friends down here? Why do people get scared when they come down here? Is it because it was a really bad place to be sent for punishment?
Were you in a gang?
What building number are we in right now?
Is there a specific part of the building that you're in right now? Are you here? What do you see? Do you see the prison walls, or do you see something else? I'm just curious.
Did the corrections officers here hurt you?
You had a lot of time here. What did you do in your time that you enjoyed? What sort of hobby or activity did you do?
I would kill to hear that noise again.
Seriously.
It's crazy that happened.
It really
I mean, we caught it enough times where it
It
scared
definitely
the
happened.
shit even out of our tour guide.
But I mean, it's probably the best thing that we've got right now.
Oh.
I mean, and then the cop coming in.
Yeah.
And then he confirmed that he heard that noise.
And
then
he
heard
was
us-
stunned
heard
as
her
hell
say
too. A whole lot of like weird little sounds, but nothing that sounded like
Think
it was
about
actually
it.
a
It's
voice.
like it's coming and it's going right now. We heard that bang upstairs. Some loud voices, but it's just not telling like a consistent story.
Does not want to speak.
So
very
what does that
much.
mean? I mean, there's so many souls here. It seems like that just are all coming through.
Well, I mean, there's not
Well,
just
that
one
didn't get a
story
single thing
to
at all.
this
Period.
place.
So it's like they moved on to
When
something
you
else.
when you have 5,000 inmates at one point on this property, there's gonna be thousands and thousands and thousands of stories. I mean, there's at least 5,000 people that have died on property here. So I mean, you're not just gonna have one story because everybody here committed their own crime.
Yeah. But just think if they had 6 people
Yeah.
in a cell like this.
That's fucking
6
insane.
men, that could be 2 murderers, 2 petty thefts. They didn't remember, they didn't really break them apart. All living, and 6 stacked in there. And it's hot. I mean, I couldn't imagine the brutality down here.
I say let's do one more DR60. Let's go walk down to no man's land.
There?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So since we want
Poke the
to
darkness with a big
kind of
sharp
get a
pointy
taste
stick.
of all of this
what
property,
happens.
like I said, limited time tonight. We're gonna head down
can't
to
stick
no
around
man's
too long
land
if it's
now.
not
This
gonna
is
be
the
active
part of the
enough.
prison where psychics, tour guides, they all refuse to go into alone. They don't really understand why. It's so evil, and there's this like extreme negativity here,
malicious.
but
So-
it's here, and yeah, it's right here.
So angry.
I'm gonna put the DR60 in this cell right
I'm
here.
struggling with my head. Help me! Help me! Yeah, I'll
You guys
just
ready?
reload this camera again.
Okay, we're here to ask you a question right now. Who is the person who haunts this area?
Were you assaulted in this cell? Anybody? What happened to you?
What did you do to make you end up down here?
Were you on death row?
It might be kind of activity down there again.
I killed.
That darn cricket.
Damn.
Okay. This way and there.
Definitely someone here. I think we do one more right away.
Yeah,
let's
Just
do
we
it.
don't have much time. Okay, so there is somebody here. Let me ask, why are you so negative and why are people scared of you?
Did you kill someone?
Are you alive or dead? If you know, are you alive or dead?
Let me ask you, what is the issue that you have? Are you angry that you're trapped here?
Ooh.
Could you move something down here, slam a door, knock on something before we go?
Do you not like that we've been going in your cells?
What do you miss the most on the outside before you got imprisoned? What do you miss the most?
Oh, I hear the REM pods going off. I just heard the REM pod going off upstairs.
You must have like bad hearing. Super
I swear, I just heard it going
hearing
off.
over there. Okay.
Time to listen.
Was that one of us that made a noise up
I
there?
don't get it.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, but we're not really talking.
That one might have been me.
I think you have to listen more. We have more time. You know?
I swear, I heard that REM pod.
Can't say for sure, yeah. That's a good noise.
12:26.
Okay.
We gotta get back there.
Okay.
Okay, guys, so we're officially out of time here at the main portion of the penitentiary, but we have a very, very macabre ending for this video. For the first time ever here on the channel, we are getting access to the execution chambers at a penitentiary where over 40 people were killed by their own government. So we are going to head there now, check it out, and finish up with our Estes session. And I am a little bit freaked out to do it in there, if we're gonna be honest.
What she said, remember you can hear stuff?
I'm still rolling.
So Roland, look at that go. He got close and it starts going crazy.
10 feet away from it.
Oh, thank you for, dude.
It's like they came out of the cell. Like, what are you doing?
The light change or no? Look at it went off on the other side.
Oh, so does that mean that you, are you sad that we're leaving?
Quite the reaction either way.
What the hell? We were just about to pack up. I was just rolling a case on.
Did you not like that we came back in here?
No one likes that we're in here.
Okay, well.
Okay, see you later.
Oh! Thanks for that so much. Thank you, whoever you are, even though we don't know who you are.
That's really weird. It's not in the shot.
I disappeared from the screen. Hello?
Okay.
Let's pack up and head.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's Colin here. Thank you for watching today's video. Hello to all the new subscribers and hello to the rest of our beautiful, wonderful, spooky family. As you know, every single week here on the channel, we give away a free gift bag to one lucky viewer of the show. And this week, to enter the contest, all you have to do is like today's video, smash that like button, and comment, "Let's go to prison," in the comments section below. I'm going to give you all 10 seconds to do this now. 10.
Officers there and leaving
Screwed
out
around
of that
a little bit
place.
because that's
we weren't
mostly
really
for the
sure,
live show.
but it just didn't feel the same as it did before. So we decided to go where that spirit might have ended up, to the death chambers.
So we did execute 40 individuals in our gas chamber, and 39 of those were by lethal cyanide gas, which was a gruesome way to die. It took 3 to 5 minutes for those individuals to actually succumb to that type of killing. They would have had last meals and last rites in their cells, and then they would have been driven down here by the warden in a state-issued vehicle. Walked the path right here. That's about as close to dead man walking as you're ever going to get right there, Colin. So step lightly. And then after the national moratorium on the death sentence in 1965 went away, and each state was allowed to vote whether or not they wanted the death sentence to return. Missouri said, yes, we did, and we did. George Tiny Mercer, who I mentioned to you up on death row, he was the only one we did by lethal injection, and the last one we did at all here, and then we moved him out to Potosi. Now, of those 39 that we gassed, one of those was a woman. Her name was Bonnie Brown Hetty. No one had ever executed a woman before that. This was in December of 1953 when she was executed. She and her lover, Carl Estenhall, committed the Bobby Greenlee's kidnapping in Kansas City. We ended up executing the both of them side by side. We do have 2 chairs. We did double executions 4 times over the years. So there was no waiting here. You know, it was pretty swift justice back in the day. In fact, those 2 sat on death row 81 days before they were brought down here and executed. And Missouri still holds the national record for the shortest amount of time that anybody ever sat on death row before execution, and it was them. Yeah, see, everybody thinks it's the Arch in St. Louis. It's this. So you can either take the path, or we do have a couple of stairs over here, whichever way you would prefer to go.
Stairs.
They would have went that way.
Exactly.
On that path. All
right. I'll go that way with you. I mean, dude, can you imagine 40 people executed in this small
and actually think of them actually, if you were in the moment with them and they're walking here.
This is the last thing they ever
to get gassed.
Like the worst way.
And then look at, there's a cross here.
This cross, it was actually asked for to be put in by the inmates. And, you know, I guess you got to get right with God before you go in if you haven't gotten right already. So the right-hand side is the chamber side, and that is where the actual chairs are located.
Oh my God.
They actually poured the pad, the concrete pad, brought in the canister part, the chamber part, set it in place, and then they built the building around it. And I mentioned that the 3 limestone buildings up above that we went into were hand-built by the inmates. Well, this building's also made out of limestone, so who do you think built it? The inmates. So they are actually building the gas chamber that, 39 of them were killed in. So
Now they held in here.
this was, I guess you could call it a holding cell. You know, again, back in the day, by the time they got brought down here, everything pretty much was done up there. Like I said, last meals and last rites. They may have held them in here for a very short amount of time. I mean, maybe waiting for state witnesses or press or something like that to arrive.
Stuff like that.
But I would imagine within the hour, it was starting. And average death row inmate in our facility was 2.4 years before they were brought down here. So again, you know, they didn't remain there for 15, 20 years, sometimes life, waiting on death row for execution. This is the 40 individuals, yes, including the last one that was by lethal. And the way they actually did him, they unbolted the 2 chairs, took them outside, just set them outside, rolled him in on a gurney. They said his feet actually stuck out because the gurney was too long. Executed him by lethal, rolled him out, put the chairs back in, bolted them down, and then we never used it again after that. There is a mirror in there that was put in place strictly for him to see his wife, who he met and married on death row, by the way, and somebody else that was in a special room back here that was watching that execution. Otherwise, everybody stood over on that side, which was the viewing side, and that included state witnesses, press, both families, so the families being of the individuals being executed and the family of the victim who might have been involved in the crime. They literally stood in there together, which was very awkward if you ask me. But then they neutralized using an ammonia compound, which is what these orange canisters are, and there's more on the other side. And the neutralization process ran about 45 minutes to an hour to neutralize the cyanide gas that was still in the chamber area. And then they would shoot out the residue, whatever was remaining, out the 40-foot smokestack that's on top. The red lever over here behind Cooper, that is what actually dropped the trays that held cyanide tablets that are under the chairs in there. The tray dropped and the cyanide tablets slid off into crocks that were under the chairs containing sulfuric acid and warm water, and that's what started releasing the gas. And then the gray lever is what opened the smokestack and sucked the residue on out. The warden is the one who actually, dropped the handle. We didn't have like an executioner or anything like that. So, if you were a warden in the early days, you may have done this multiple times. Yeah. And again, they just received orders and carried them out and did what they were supposed to do. They could not take any of it personal, or they would not be able to complete the job. So when we do get anything, any type of activity, which I have caught a really good EVP from over on the other side. A couple of other EVPs have been caught in here. We've heard banging in here before. It's big when it happens. So it's not that small random stuff like we get up there by the, the boatload. Down here, it's minimal, but it's big when it happens.
So I have one question.
Sure.
What was it like to die by the gas? What happened?
It was almost, you are taking it in internally first thing. You're just breathing it in, and it literally is just burning you from the inside out. It was a gruesome way to die. 3 to 5 minutes again for them to succumb to that gas, and that entire time, every nerve ending in their body is on steroids. They are feeling every bit of that pain the entire time until it's over with. Yeah, it was not a pleasant way to go.
No.
I don't know if there's any pleasant way, but that one...
it was just extra unpleasant.
It most certainly was. It most certainly was. Knife in the wound, salt in the wound, knife, just twisting it, making it even worse.
Lethal injection now, and they give you a set, if they knock you out first and then take you out.
Yeah, stops your heart, it paralyzes you. And is it foolproof? No, absolutely not. We know that. But again, I think it would have been better than this. Yeah. It was a prolonged magned pretty much the whole time while you have people watching. And they were masked,
the worst pain of your life.
They were gassed, so they weren't allowed to, or not allowed, but there was no reason to look for loved ones because they couldn't see anybody anyway.
It just would be filled up with like an opaque gas.
Yes, almost odorless, colorless. In fact, the warden, before the process would have started, would have told the individual or individuals, he would bang on the tank 3 times as a signal that the gas was reaching their faces because, of course, they're blindfolded. They can't see anything anyway. And they could breathe in deeply. They would succumb quicker. Most of them listened, and did exactly that. Just breathed it in as deeply as they could so they could, hopefully end it quicker.
So what made them choose gas?
Cyanide? Good question. Before that, before gassing, all executions in the United States were done in the county they were committed in by public gallows hanging. We had a public gallows here. The last execution we did by hanging, I believe, was in like 1936, the year before we did our first gassing, and 20,000 people showed up. I mean, they had turned into public spectacles. You know, people were bringing their children, let's dress in our Sunday best and go watch the hanging. And they were bringing picnic baskets, you know, and have lunch. And officials
People
were
really
like,
didn't have
okay,
anything
you know,
to
we
do
really
back
can't
then.
do this anymore. This is not good at all. Not a good setup. So they enacted the lethal gassing. And again, they probably would have continued with the gassing, but there was the national moratorium on the death sentence, which was nationwide. It was gone in 65. And it was gone for, you know, I don't know how many years, but into the 70s before, you know, they brought it back out. Maybe even later than that. I'm not sure. And then when they came down to test it, you know, after we said we do want the death sentence in Missouri, they threw smoke bombs in here, and it was a darn good thing they did because it leaked like a sieve. You know, it had been setting for 15, 17 years by now, not being used. Seals are ruined and that kind of thing, and they would have gassed everybody in the building if they would have not tested that beforehand. So, and then it took them several more years to, you know, get the lethal injection on the books because we know, you know, judicial systems don't work real quickly. So, yeah. Yeah. So, shall we check out the other side and see the viewing side of things and see how it looked from that end? I said again, it's just like, you know, you're like in a fish bowl and you're just watching. I don't know. I mean, it's easy to say. I don't think I would want to have watched, but I guess if it was your loved one that, I don't know. You know, it's hard to say. So here you can see the other two tanks for the ammonia, a neutralization compound. I believe this is bulletproof glass, I think I have heard. And they had a perfect bird's eye view. Now up until George Tiny Mercer, they just stood in here, so you know there could have been, depending on how many were here, maybe, you know, 10 dozen people or so. A lot of families back then, I don't know how many of them actually were able to make the trek. You know, a lot of these guys that were here, necessarily their homes were not even in the state of Missouri, and it was expensive to travel back then. And let's be honest, most of the guys that were doing time in here, their families probably didn't have the money to travel. So I don't really know how many of them's families actually arrived. That's probably something I should look into and see. The risers were put in for Tiny. He had quite the outpouring of people that came to watch. You know, that was in 1989. I remember that very well. I was a grown, you know, woman by then, and it was a pretty big deal to have that happening in Cole County. Well, that tends to happen.
That just died?
Right here.
Tends to happen. So, but they put the risers in specifically for him, so they actually could just sit here and watch this execution. Yeah.
I wonder how much they like move, you know, like shake or anything like that.
And you know, I don't know if we know, because I don't know if anybody's even alive anymore to be able to tell us those kinds of details. I'm sure, I mean, I can't imagine that, right? I mean, even you could Google cyanide gassing, it's going to tell you.
We can try it on you later.
Right.
I've done it several times.
Yeah, cyanide doesn't work on Jeff.
My wife has tried over and over.
Yeah. But no success. But convulsing, I'm foaming at the mouth. I mean, it was poison, so it would be any type of effect. You'd have the same thing, only like I said.
It just seems so brutal.
It was.
And
Like
just-
hanging is so much more tame most of the time.
Yeah.
Even like firing squad.
See, I've always said that'd be my choice,
Yeah,
if I could
for
make a
sure.
choice.
I think just close range though, it should just be.
Make sure it's somebody who can shoot them, please. Because knowing me,
No,
I'd
don't
get
aim down
someone
that
who
bit.
could.
Aim down that bit. Well, try that bit.
Can't line up.
Yeah, my luck was everybody would get blanks like 6 times. And I'm just sitting there like, come on.
Don't anybody peek as to who's getting the bullets. But, yeah.
Here we are joking about
Yeah.
people being executed.
Don't you have to? I mean, when you're in here,
Subject.
I mean, it's not, they know we don't mean any disrespect at
Yeah,
all.
no.
They get it, but we just can't wrap our minds around it. So, all right, well, I'm just going to step out and you all can do a little bit in here.
Well, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
It's one
man.
of my favorite.
I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
Well, wait, I guess the
down.
alternative could be having to stay.
True, true.
I'll leave.
Yeah, we got another outfit for you to put on. Come on.
Head down, head down.
I'm pretty sure I've been in one before. No.
Okay, guys, so to end tonight's investigation, we have something absolutely crazy that we have access to. The gas chambers where 40 people were executed here at the penitentiary. We have never had this opportunity here on the show, and already the energy in there is heavy, it's thick. It just feels so wrong, knowing how many people were killed in such a terrible way there.
They suffered.
Right?
My bag of bones again.
As you can see, I have a
I think
police
they got a
uniform
bone to
on.
pick.
We have a criminal here, and we have another.
Police officer right here.
We're gonna try to do
Bang, bang.
an experiment here. So we're gonna handcuff Connor, and we're gonna lead him into the gas chamber exactly like the prisoners who were executed were let in there before they died, in an effort to see if using these costumes, these outfits, might bring out some of the energy that is obviously still trapped there from the horrific things that happened.
Yeah.
Aren't you a little bit nervous?
I'm kind of freaked out. I mean, it's like the people that got executed here. I mean, they weren't good people.
No.
But still, I mean, everybody's human, and nobody deserves to suffer like that when they die. It's kind of like sad, but I mean,
Yeah.
Because it's even like emotional energy that might still be trapped there from the families who like lost someone because they got murdered, or even like the people who committed the crimes, like they still had families.
Yeah.
And so they were still people. And so, I mean, there's a lot of emotional energy that's like still in that building.
Well, when you use the Estes method, you are trying to invite an energy kind of into you. And when you do it in a place like this where murderers were killed, it's just frightening.
Yeah. So.
They're sure what to expect in there.
You act like you've never done this before.
Okay.
You need retraining.
Okay.
I've not done this before, boy. Where did you get these cups from?
Connor Shannon, you have been sentenced to death by the state of Missouri. Do you have any final words?
I'm gonna die.
We'll see about that. Okay, well, so you can pause that. So we wanted to treat this with respect, obviously. We've never had access to a death chambers of any sort, but it was just so crazy. We wanted to do an experiment to see if us dressing up and recreating something like an execution would bring out any of this energy. And after looking back at the footage like we have now, it definitely brought it out to play. Man, this is dark. This could be the darkest thing we've ever done.
Yeah, we gotta do our duty, man.
Better to burn out than to fade away.
Yeah. You've been sentenced to die. You're about to die. These are your last words. Tell us your name.
A what? Can you tell us your name? What'd you do? Did you murder somebody?
Cabinet.
Bomb. He said,
So you killed someone?
Photos.
Maybe they don't like that we're cops in here telling us to leave.
Could be. We were taking photos. Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, we were taking photos.
Yeah, we are.
We were. Yeah, we're.
Oh yeah, we were just
doing
taking photos on our phone.
They don't like it.
Did you die from the gas?
Or lethal injury.
It hurt.
What hurt? How did you die? Gas or lethal injection? Did you breathe something?
Mm-hmm.
There's like a noise. There's a
Weird vertigo right now.
There was a movement behind him. I don't know what the hell that was.
Tell me more about what you did to end up in the gas chamber. Did you kill one? No, we're not going to go. You have to die. But we want to, maybe we can get you out of here if you tell us something about what happened. Did you kill multiple people?
Wealthy.
We killed the wealthy. Maybe robbed them?
Well,
killed wealthy people.
maybe.
So like a robber.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Flower.
For money.
Okay, so
Wealthy
you killed people for money. So that makes sense.
I'd say the people that he killed were wealthy.
They were wealthy.
Just keep that in mind.
So where did this happen?
What part of the country are you from? Like north, south, east, west? Can you tell me? Okay, I would say that would be north. From Missouri.
So the north.
Okay, that'd be kind of us.
Yeah. How'd you end up in Missouri if you're from the north?
Got away. Had to.
So had committed a crime. That is insane, actually. This is insane.
Someone got away.
Got away. Had to get away. I'm assuming.
Got away with a crime?
Or had to get away.
Scared.
Adventure.
Or had to get away from where they committed the crime in the north.
Yep.
So, do you know that you were dead?
Had to.
So I think who they'd kill.
Yeah.
Wealthy. Did you kill like a number of people that were wealthy, or just a few?
Gary.
Like you.
Like me. Okay, like me.
Cops.
Ooh, cops. A cop connection. So
you killed cops and wealthy people. That's what you did.
That's interesting. Cops and wealthy people are
The
connected.
child wants help.
Okay, so let's think about north. Killed people like us.
I was young.
Okay, younger person. Cops killed maybe or whatever, a connection.
Yeah.
And wealthy people.
All I knew.
Up north.
Up north. Have to look up people.
What did
Where am I?
Can you tell?
What did you do for, like, what did you do for a living? Well, kill wealthy people?
Killed
Maybe a policeman? Okay, so,
I'm like feeling disgusting right now.
okay, so I think like, okay, I heard a bang.
Yeah.
They're super tight.
Okay, we're just gonna keep going here.
Yeah.
What did you just ask?
So what year were you executed in?
Free.
He's free maybe after dying.
30.
1930?
Or he was 30 years old.
Were they doing it? When did they start the lethal gas?
Okay, so let's go back.
Okay,
again.
so 30.
Pretty sure
Either
it's the
30,
30s.
there's something to do with 30, north of Missouri, like Nebraska or something like that, right? Or what's north, Oklahoma?
Yeah.
No, I don't even know, damn, what's my geography?
What was your last?
Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska,
Could be Minnesota, South
Illinois,
Dakota, should be
Minnesota,
South Dakota, North Dakota,
Wyoming,
Montana.
Montana.
We were just
Could be
at.
someone that followed us from Montana too.
What did you kill people with? How did you kill them? Did you shoot them? Did you put a knife in them? Like a knife or?
Can't breathe.
Okay. I would think, to me, that would be maybe strangulation.
Well, or the gas chamber.
Oh, true. But I asked them like how they kill people.
Did you strangle people?
Can't breathe.
I have a feeling if you killed a cop, then you'd shoot him.
Well, you could shoot them in the lung when they couldn't breathe. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's hotter than shit.
So.
Oh.
Gun.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just that it's hot in here, but I feel like I'm getting like sick.
Yeah, probably. Well, he might be going through the actual gas chamber. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I can only imagine like what the.
No, come on. No, that's gotta be something.
It's me. Did you hear that?
Yes.
What the f? What the f?
Is that somebody that just like banged on the side of those?
Yes. Did you just bang on something?
It's me.
That's what it said before, too.
So it's me.
So why do you stick around in this area?
Sad.
Is there more than one person here? It could be more than one person.
Might be. So we still have a lot of clues here.
Cop? Cop killer, robber.
Cop killing cop.
Hop killers, robbers, etc.
And
30.
30 was a big one. 30.
Up south.
What? Up south. Up
I'm
south.
gonna take that as like south.
Up though, south.
So like, now a totally different area. Like you mean like Texas and all that? True.
Up from Missouri.
What did it feel like to die?
Fire.
Fire.
Well, that's
This is
so
just
like
fucking
told
insane.
her. What'd she just say?
Yes.
Like it's like you burn yourself up inside.
She did just say that. Well,
Yeah,
I
so-
know. I've read about what it felt like, and that's exactly what it was like.
Window.
Window. Push it.
Oh.
Or push it, like almost pull it. Dude, is there somebody watching from the window right now?
Window and then say push it. Yeah. Like somebody.
Nobody cares.
Like somebody wants you to do it.
Yeah. I mean, we just heard a bang from over there by the f***ing window.
Okay, I wonder,
Is there somebody watching this execution?
I wonder when you pull the lever, right? Then what happens when you push it?
They hate me.
Well, that would make
Yeah.
sense.
Well, yeah.
People that you killed their families.
Yeah.
Okay, we
You
got
gotta hate
a
your
lot
guts.
of stuff that's narrowed here.
Kind of your fault though.
I think you should make sure and write this down, all these things.
Yeah, I want to go
Because
research.
we've got
exactly.
like 40 people to try to figure out maybe who we're talking to.
But there's no details about anything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Have to look, have to read.
you got Allen, that's an A. Granville Allen.
What's that?
Adam Richetti.
So a person that would be
These guys are 40s. There's
Cross.
38.
30?
Yeah, 38.
Really? Okay, what's
But I'm just trying to find A names from the 30s.
Oh, you know what we should ask?
Granville and Adam. Dude, I feel really weird.
I'm freaking out of it.
I'm getting like dizzy myself.
I think Connor's
I'm
probably
getting
not
like
feeling good.
pain in my chest.
I don't know if he's really doing too good. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I think he's getting the effects of the cyanide gas, like living it
me
maybe.
too.
Do you think you want to go? Do you feel like you're dying?
Shut down.
Maybe that means we need to like shut down.
Are their bodies shutting down from the
Yeah.
gas?
Or we need to shut down.
Soldier.
Soldiers. Well, we're gonna research and kind of look into who you might have been.
That's a lot of info.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to tell us?
Gee, Connor's kind of slumping over. I think maybe we better let him
Sorry.
get out of this suit.
That's really sad, actually.
Yeah, really.
Hey, did you ever feel bad about whatever you did?
Do you think you're in heaven now? Are you stuck here? Or anything you want to?
Bar.
What? Bar? Well, that could be a bar, like right here.
Bar or
Bar
car?
here.
Do you say bar or car?
Dude, you need to write down Jeremy too.
Is there anything else you could tell, or like what? Why are you still here? Yeah.
Don't know why I'm still here.
Anything else?
I'm glad you're here.
Do you like that we're telling your story? I mean, if he's stuck here, right? He's been here for a long time.
I just want to know, like, tell me something about the day you died.
He looks like he's like
There's bad energy.
He's dying of energy.
Wow. There is bad.
Ever since I got in here, I've just felt like, I don't know, if there's like a just super heavy feeling in here. Like it doesn't feel like there's just like one thing. It's like, it feels super emotional.
Well, I think we've gotten some really good stuff.
I do too. I think it's so freaking hot in here. We should probably.
All right, this is your last chance to say
before they
something
go
to
into
us. Do
heat
you have
stroke
anything
here.
left to share?
You can say it to the necrometer or the spirit talker or yourself. Anything further?
It's just like, get out of here.
Well,
I mean, let's just go.
Shut down.
Okay.
Let's get out of here. We should let him go. That was crazy.
Okay, everybody. Ooh. Sorry. Huh?
Right.
He's hurt so bad.
Sorry. You did good, man. You had a lot of good stuff.
That was probably the most uncomfortable Estes session I've ever done.
Really? Why?
I don't know. I just like felt like sick the whole time I was in here. And like I felt like the whole time I just kind of like wanted
nasty
to
in there.
cry. I don't know.
Well, let's get you out of here, man.
I'm rolling on now.
I'm gonna pause this. We can do our wrap-up thoughts.
Yep, time for wrap up. They're done then.
That Estes method, I feel like definitely stuck with me. Just being in a place where people were, for lack of better words, they were murdered in there. It wasn't a fast, painless death. This was brutal execution. I feel like that kind of left an impact on me that I'll never be able to shake. It was dark, but also you have to think about the crimes that a lot of these people committed for being on death row.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't
what
good
they
people.
did.
But I believe that I
to them
came in
wasn't good, but
contact
what they
with
did to
a
get there
specific
wasn't great
person.
either.
So it seemed like we had been talking to the spirit of Adam Ricchetti. And although he never actually said his name out loud, and obviously there was a lot of Estes stuff that I cut out that was just random, but those were the clues that I included in the video footage that seemed to link us to this guy.
So there are a couple of reasons why I believe we were talking to a man named Adam Ricchetti. Now, Adam was a career gangster who ran with people like Pretty Boy Floyd, and interestingly enough, he was executed for the murder of a police officer. And if you'll remember during our Estes, it seemed like the spirit didn't really like the police, but he kept talking about them. There was also a point when Connor said up south, and then our device said true after I mentioned Texas. Well, Adam was born in Texas. And pretty quickly at the beginning of the session, we were able to determine that he was a robber. Now, it seemed like Adam's spirit didn't really want to speak with us, and that would make sense because a lot of modern historians think that Adam actually wasn't guilty of murdering anybody. And the courtroom was stacked against him with crooked cops who were willing to lie to get a conviction. I should also mention at the very beginning of the Estes, Connor said A, which could stand for Adam. But I don't know. What do you guys think about all this?
Just crazy that, I mean, I never thought in my wildest dreams that we'd actually be able to take what we had gathered that night and apply it to some historical research and find a guy that it seemed to match. But we did. I mean, the crime spree lines up perfectly with what we were told during the Estes, the name, kind of everything about it. So, I don't know, I really do feel like we contacted Adam, and it's just crazy to me that he would still be there after so many years. It just goes to show, I think, that executions and stuff like that leave such a brutal, bloody mark on the buildings that they're carried out in. You can wash the blood off of a wall, but the energy will stain it forever. Okay guys, so it's now the next day, and I wanted to take you to this cemetery here in Jefferson City. Do you guys know why I brought you guys here?
Kill me?
No.
Fair enough.
No? Any idea?
Upgrade for you.
Do you see any
big memorial, anything around here? Well, this is where the prisoners from the Missouri State Penitentiary were reinterred. Hundreds, if not thousands of bodies were moved to this small cemetery. They were given no marking, and they're all buried here in unmarked graves. So this would include people that were murdered by another inmate, serving, even a petty charge, people that took their own lives that would have eventually gotten out of prison, and the inmates that were executed. And I personally think it's shocking that they don't have even a sign denoting where these people are,
That's kind of crazy.
Look at it.
And it's a pretty full cemetery.
Yeah.
I mean, the only place that's not filled is right here.
That would fit a lot of bodies down there.
I know, that's what... I mean, it looks
how
like
else would they
down
put
there.
them in here, right? I mean, you can't put them by the people that are buried here.
Yeah.
There's like not any space here, except right there.
It's just... I don't know. It seems wrong that they don't even have something to
At
let
least
you
a
know where
marker.
they are.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they were still people that had families, parents, children.
So were they buried on property first?
Yeah, they were buried on property. She said last night she thinks there could be a lot of bodies still there.
Dang.
I don't know. I think when the prison shut down, they moved them in 2000, whatever, 3 or 4. But it just begs the question, these people, the people that were executed obviously did terrible things, but did they deserve to die in such a gruesome way like the gas chamber? And then be buried forever with their name and everything lost? It's a perplexed question.
Some people may agree with
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's even crazy. When she was.
It's one thing to
taking
leave
us
it
through the
unmarked for
tour
the actual
yesterday,
headstone
she's
because you
saying
don't want
that,
people to
a lot of the inmates that died.
mess with the headstones,
Like,
but
it
at
was
least
just
have
kind
a
of
general
written
marker
down
of
with a
some
pencil.
kind.
This guy got stabbed, and then
Forgotten.
thrown away. Like, no family. They're in prison for life anyway. And when they die, it's just kind of. It's just a.
And remember, all her attitude was like, hey, but once they get hot or what they do, who cares?
Yeah, they didn't care.
They didn't care about anything.
Even like the fire safety and all that stuff, they did not care about the inmates at all. And a lot of times, prison back in the day, it wasn't, and still, in some circumstances, it's not about rehabilitation. It's just about punishment. And
That's exactly what it is.
it's sad to know that even after they die, it's almost like still a punishment that their names are just forgotten forever.
That's what I mean.
So what do you do though if it's your daughter killed by the guy?
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's a complex question.
You talk to a family who was, their daughter was raped and brutally murdered, or 3 of them were killed. Do they really care where this guy ends up?
Well, that's what I mean. You got both sides.
That's the question of humanity, though. I mean,
that's the question of the death penalty in general.
Yeah.
Which is, we're not trying to get political here, but that's the complexity of the issue. Because they were still babies at one point. Even a serial killer still has parents and
there
people
was
that care
people
about
who were
them.
getting executed on death row that were like early 20s.
Yeah.
And some that really aren't guilty.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, they should have at least marked where they're at.
Or put a memorial or something.
Yeah, like something saying, this is where they are.
Yeah.
Because who knows? No one knows where they are. I'm going to assume they're down in this area. Wouldn't you guys?
Yes and no. They might not have anybody buried there because it's at a low point. I bet water collects. So.
That's true. But then the other only real area would be kind of along the fence line.
I mean, if they just dug up the bodies and brought them out here, they're probably bones anyway. They probably just dug a deep hole and just buried them.
I think this prison is definitely one of the most haunted locations in the United States. No question about it. We were coming into contact with various different entities at this place. Not sure if we were talking to prisoners or just residual kind of energy that was left behind by just all the brutality that happened in this place. This one's definitely going down in my list as one of the tops. I love this place. I mean, no matter how dark that place was, but I will say that I would love to go back to this place.
So the Missouri State Penitentiary has to be, I mean, just a top 10 episode for me of all time. You cannot beat a massive lightning and thunderstorm, rain coming down from above. It's just the spookiest thing you can possibly imagine. I live for everything spooky. And then in addition, hearing things like doors slamming, the voices thumping, I mean, wow, what a crazy night. I love doing prisons just because I love history so much, and with every single prison that we visit, we learn about a different part of history, and you know, it's always dark history, sadly, but I think it's important that we continue to talk about that, you know, whether you're on the side of the death penalty or you're against the death penalty. It's just really interesting to actually put yourself in the shoes of someone that was executed, to sit there in that chair and think, this is the last thing these people saw before they met their maker. And yeah, that sort of thing sticks with you even beyond the paranormal, just more of a psychological effect that it has on a person. But as always, guys, we love you so much. Thank you for tuning in this week. We will see you next week with another amazing episode from this series. It's Colin here. Stay spooky, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Colin. One final look, ladies and gentlemen. Next week we visit our scariest locations today. Just wait and see. Oh, no giveaways. Alright, once again, reminder, if you're enjoying the video itself, check out the link down below so you can see it without my extra bit of commentary here and there. And if you are enjoying my content, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and also if you're interested in my socials or other things, check out the links down below, where you'll also find my merch available on Streamlabs. Again, I would advise getting a size bigger. Their sizes tend to be oddly small for some reason. But as long as you get a size bigger, it seems to be a generally pretty good product. So, with that being said, thank you all again, have a good evening, and we will see you all next time. Pleasant dreams.